3.27 miles. It may be that just a little bit of lateral thinking from the guys on the pit box could make the difference today. And keep an eye on the fuel gauge. The GT LM's not too far away, a little bit better off on fuel here in the verdant countryside of VIR than last year, but the GTD cars certainly need a little bit of help from the yellow flags if they come. Otherwise, it's going to be the soft-footed driver who gets the call to go into the car at the end of the race. The IMSA radio team are trackside for the whole IMSA season. No difference here at VIR. It's Shea Adam and Jim Roller, our Continental Tire pit lane reporters, Jeremy Shaw and me, John Hindhaugh, in the broadcast suite trackside as the cars come through at the end of their first formation lap. And I've got to say, Jeremy, I've got a bit of goosebumps going on here. The sunshine shining down and picking out the beautiful liveries of these Grand Touring cars.
Yeah, it's warm out here today. It's going to be work out for the cars and the drivers and the tyres as well. You know, this is a tricky racetrack, as you say. If you do get off the road here, then you're going to be slithering around on the grass, and the grass is still pretty damp from that heavy rain we had yesterday. And because of the repaving and because of that, particularly that heavy rain again yesterday, it's all washed away all the rubber that had been laid down over the Thursday, Friday and Saturday morning. So pretty much a green track this morning, no rubber at all. It's really slippery out there. And the track is going to grip up as the race goes along. Still, we've only had a couple of races this morning, so not a lot of track time out there, but more rubber to get laid down. That's what provides more assured feel for the drivers as they turn in around these corners.
And since we've had the rain on the circuit, Jeremy, we've had a number of different tyre manufacturers' products down there. We've got Michelin in Continental here, we've had Pirelli in the Lamborghini Blancpain Challenge, and Yokohama on the Porsche. Now, that's unusual that we get that mix bang straight after each other. So again, as the race goes through here, the cars that are out there now will be putting their own rubber down on the track. I'd not be surprised to see the fastest lap turns in the last stint of the race today.
You're absolutely right. I think that's exactly going to be the case. And you know, it's several drivers told me, I mean, they love the job that's been done with the repaving. It's super smooth, it's really good, and there's good grip through the corners, but there's just a kind of a sort of a strange feel that the drivers are saying. Several drivers told me this weekend. It's a funny vibe to the feel of the racetrack here now with this new repave, and they're just getting used to it. And the car doesn't quite feel like it normally does. They can't really put their finger on it. There's no real obvious explanation for it. But we have seen a lot of cars off the road sliding off onto the grass. Haven't seen any major contact, thankfully, and hopefully that will continue. We have seen cars sliding off the road, and I think we'll probably see some more of that during the race.
So the sound of the engines on the far side of the circuit as the lights are out on the IMSA safety car, and the two Corvettes driven by Jan Magnussen and Tommy Milner line up first and second. The number 3 car on the inside, the right-hand side of the circuit, closest to us as they come past the start-finish line. I've resisted saying start-finish straight because it isn't. It curves quite a pronounced curve to the right-hand side, and you really do take a racing line in racing conditions, but 2x2, that's a bit harder.
It's kind of like a shoreline drive at Long Beach, isn't it, on the street circuit there. There's no walls to hit.
Well, it's a very tightly formed grid, and the GT Daytona cars are not split up. So here comes the two bright yellow Corvettes, and Magnussen goes for the full throttle early, and he pulls away from his teammate, but it's allowed Joey Hunt to go through into second place down the inside. It's going to be the last. The late break is the BMW coming down the inside as well there. It's Corvette from Ford, from Ferrari, from BMW, all in the mix there as they go through. And the Ferrari has indeed come through into third position. A brilliant start from Giancarlo Fisichella. It's Jan Magnussen from Joey Hand from Giancarlo Fisichella, and Tommy Milner, the man who loses out, shuffled down to fourth position ahead of John Edwards in the BMW. And straight away, Joey Hand tries to get on terms with the Corvette as they head clean start at the front of the field. Great start from Jan Magnussen, who didn't help his teammate at all, really hung out. Who had Tommy Milner there?
Well, this is such a cool shot here from the helicopter. The car's going through that climbing S's there. And yeah, I was surprised there, really a lack of teamwork amongst the Corvette racing. That's not something you hear very often. But clearly Tommy Milner was taken by surprise there at the start of the slot. At the start, he's lost 2 positions. And now he's got to work his way past both a Ferrari and a Ford. He's going to get back on terms with his teammate. And he needs every point he can get there. Going for a championship here. Tommy Milner and Oliver Gavin. They want to get as many points as they possibly can every time out.
Andrew Davis has made up a position in the number 6 Stevenson Audi and is now in behind his teammates. So in GT Daytona, it's Lamborghini number 48 for Paul Miller Racing from Matt Bell in the number 9 Audi, then the 6 of Andrew Davis, then Spirituali in the 27. Ben Keating has the 33 Dodge Fighter in 5th position. Top 6 made up by the BMW 97 and Michael Marsell across the line for the leaders. Magnussen, Hand, Fisichella, Milner, Werner, Tandy has made up positions to 6th in the BMW. John Edwards going back down to 7th. And by the way, the Ford that started at the back, Richard Westbrook, has made up 4 positions as in the pits, Brett Curtis in the 96 BMW. Early pit caller. And that car comes to a halt on pit lane. Already some damage on the right front of that car around the wheel arch area. So perhaps some contact there. But just underlying what Jeremy was saying in our IHG Rewards Cup keys to the race about how difficult it would be to pass. Richard Westbrook has not been able to charge through the field. He's made up 4 or 5 positions, Jeremy, but he's having to work for every one of them.
Yes, he is, and with the sort of flowing sequence of corners there are here at VIR, there's no sort of long straights and heavy braking, really use the power of the car and then the braking to get faster in the car. So he is really going to have to work on it. He's going to be quite a deficit once he does work his way through those GT cars.
Let's keep an eye on how far back from the leader he is. 11 seconds at the moment. But the problem for him is that Jan Magnussen and Joey Hand are making off into the distance as Brett Curtis brings the 96 BMW down pit lane, makes the U-turn back to the paddock. So early issues then for the 96 Turner BMW, and Brett Curtis is out of the running early.
That's the car that's placed 6th in the championship, and he and James Klingman, they've already won once this season.
Leaders across the line to complete their 2nd racing lap. Joey Hand refuses to let up the pressure on Jan Magnussen, leading within 3rd place. Fisichella still 4th is Dirk Werner. Nick Tandy up into 5th position ahead of Tommy Milner.
So Tommy Milner lost 2 more positions on that last lap, Johnny. He's slipping back in the early stages here. Expect to see that if the Corvettes have been the quickest cars here all weekend long, fastest in every session, 1-2 in qualifying, but now it's 1-6. That is not what they expected nor what they hoped for, but there's nose to tail all the cars there in GTL, and absolutely nose to tail. And Richard Westbrook is up through now ahead of half a dozen of the GTD cars. And it's interesting is also the GTD cars not losing out much ground to the GTLM cars. There's only, what, 3.5 seconds between the last of GTLMs and the best of the GTDs.
Rough start for Turner Motorsports as they have had the front splitter on that car completely loose and it was dragging on the ground. So that's why they've had to take it back. They can't run with it that way. They've got to take it back and fix it or they're done for the day.
Thank you, Jim. Our first Continental Time report, not good news for Turner. May have hit a barrier. There was a lot of green paint on that nose as well. Richard Westbrook is coming through the field, as Jeremy mentioned before that pit lane report. He goes past Ben Keating now in the 14th position. He was 10 seconds behind the leader. He's now 14.5. So he's making ground, Jeremy, but he's losing time on the leaders at every turn of the corner. Meantime, Nick Tandy being aggressive, got himself up in the 5th position, but Tommy Milner now has the tyres coming up the temperature. Perhaps maybe he's just getting the feel of the track surface after 3 racing laps, because he's beginning to challenge again after losing that front row start, couldn't really compete early on. There was some contact between Richard Westbrook, who pushed the 96 off the circuit to driver's right coming down the front straight as Westbrook was working his way through traffic. So Brett Curtis got a hand into the encore on the right-hand side from Richard Westbrook as he came through the field. And that's the danger, Jeremy, of that high-risk strategy played by the Chip Ganassi team of changing the tyres to a compound more suited to the high temperatures today. That put the car at the back, means Richard Westbrook's got to do more work. It puts him in harm's way. Well,
it really does, and track position really is going to be important today, because it's not very easy to pass around here because of these sequences of corners. There's no, there are places you can overtake, but the cars are so closely matched, it's difficult to make overtaking manoeuvres, particularly, or rather even, if you're just working your way through the slower category of cars in GT2s with that QTLM car before GT. So he's got to be really, really careful here. He's going to lose the time. He's just got to reconcile it, be happy with that, not let it worry him, and not take too much out of himself or the car in the early stages of this race. But it is going to be frustrating.
GT Daytona at the moment led by Madison Snow from pole position, just by half a second though to the similar engine and drivetrain behind him, but clothed in a very different body, because that's the Audi of Matt Bell and Stevenson Motorsport. Andrew Davies just a little bit further back, 3 seconds away from his teammate. Madison Snow setting a cracking pace at the head of the field in GT Daytona, and that pair of car have split away. At IMSA Radio, by the way, if you want to contact us on Twitter. Not sure how much we'll be able to look at the screens because there's so much action going on here. But don't forget, at the end of the race, the checkered flag might end the competition, but it's only the start of the conversation. Michelin post-race tech after the checkered flag and the winners' interviews on IMSA Radio. This is a remarkable pace being shown at the front of the field. 1:45.3 from Jan Magnussen, 45.1 from Joey Hand is the fastest lap of the race so far. But this puts me in mind of GT racing from IMSA from down through the years, and fitting that we should be here this weekend. This was the first IMSA GT race in early 1970s. Peter Gregg won in a 9146 Porsche. 1971, that historic date. And who would have guessed that 3 years later it looked like we could have lost this circuit forever. It was closed for a very long time and claimed back from nature in 2000 and transformed back into the fantastic circuit that we have now. 1971, the year that IMSA really established itself as a major sanctioning body in the United States, and the legacy of those early days being played out in front of us now here at VIR. 2.5 hours remain. Magnussen, Hand, Fisichella. It's a decent trio right there, with Werner, Tandy and Milner the next three. Edwards, Makoviecki and Snow leading GTD in 9th position, with Matt Bell rounding off the top 10. Let's go to the Continental Tire pit lane reports. Not a great start from Tom Milner in the number 4 car, Shea. Front row start, running in 6th right now.
Everything's okay with the car though, John, and that's the good news. The tire pressure is just not quite there at the start, so Tommy doing a good job just to hang on to the car. The team said it's a long race still to go. They're just trying to hold on to the fenders and get into a rhythm, because with 2.5 hours remaining, doesn't matter what he's doing now, it matters what he's doing at the end.
It's not where you start, it's where you finish. That's never more true a word spoken.
And last time around he was the fastest car on the track, and then coming out of open tree on this lap, number 911 car directly in front of Nick Tandy, a little bit sideways coming off that corner, and Tommy Miller is tucked in right behind him as they head up toward the roller coaster.
The contact between Richard Westbrook and Brett Curtis reviewed by race control. No further action being taken there. And thanks to our race control for setting us up on the messaging system this weekend, so we get even more information from the official sources, and quicker at that. This is going to be one of those races, I think, where we never take our eyes off the circuit and the screens. Jan Magnussen now putting in a 1:44.8 to take fastest lap of the race, but Richard Westbrook has done a 44.9 as he's come through traffic. But again, I'll make the point, he was only 10 seconds behind at the start of the race. He's now 15, but he's worked his way towards the front of the GT Daytona field. And of course, as he gets towards the faster GTD cars, it's good in one respect because they won't be slowing him down as much. It's bad in another, in that he's fighting for overall position, and those cars are going to be getting, relatively speaking, quicker than the cars he's gone by. They'll be harder to pass.
Yeah, he's now onto the tail of the two leaders in GTD, so he should be able to work his way past those fairly quickly, and I'm sure that Madison Snow will see him coming as well. He's already got past Matt Bell. Will be passing Richard Westbrook very shortly. He is now. It's a great move.
Up towards Oaktree. Yep. And he's only got Madison Snow now as they come round the second right-hander onto what is effectively Madison Avenue, the southern pit lane, and Paddock Complex on driver's left there. Crest the first of two significant rises on that run down to turns 14 and 15. The roller coaster, well named this section of track.
As you can see there, Richard Westbrook really gains nothing on that Lamborghini all the way down that longest straightaway on this racetrack.
Reminder, Chip Ganassi, Ford Racing decided to put harder compound Michelin tyres that work in higher temperatures onto that car. And that's why it had to go to the back of the grid. You must start the race with at least 3 of the 4 tyres on which you qualify, otherwise you take the penalty. Madison Snow giving the Ford GT room and doing it in a way that didn't ruin his own entry to the first corner. Richard Westbrook getting the power down from the 3.5 litre V6 Ford EcoBoost engine through those rear Michelin tyres, the car squirming under the power as it was delivered. And now there's nothing between Richard Westbrook and the back of the GT Le Mans field, which is Fred Makovecki, other than about 11 seconds. So he is now just on 16 seconds behind the leader. Let's see how quickly he can close that down and whether that tyre choice is going to pay dividends in the second half of this opening stint. Remember, everyone else ahead of him is going to be on tyres that did 7 or 8 laps in qualifying. His tyres were new when they rolled off the formation lap and were a more suitable tyre for the weather condition now because they chose them right this morning.
Yeah, we'll see what sort of lap times he can do now. The pace is certainly hotting up at the front of the field. Jan Magnussen just set the fastest lap of the race last time around, a 44.592. The pole lap was a 41.5, so still 3 seconds away from that. Well, still a full tank of fuel. Plus, they want to make sure they don't take too much out of these tyres in the early stages of the race. But this is probably the biggest lead he's had right now. It's not quite just 0.8 of a second, but it's probably about 10 or 15 car lengths. And I'd say that is the biggest gap he's had. But new fastest lap there this time around to complete lap 8, 44.31. And there comes Richard Westbrook across the line. This is his first time with a clear lap, 44.9. All of the top GT11 cars running pretty much identical lap times within a 1/10 or 2 of a second.
Which, when we consider the whole field was separated, I think, by 0.6 in qualifying, makes perfect sense. Make the most of your advantage when you have it. Our IHG Rewards Club key to the race, or one of them. Magnussen 44.3 last time around. The 63 Scuderia Corsa Ferrari sitting at the moment down in 10th position for Christina Nielsen, keeping out of trouble in this early part of the race. The idea would be to make hay and pick off some of their competitors later on. They come into this race's championship leader. Note the right-hand rear light cluster not working on the 63 car. Don't know if it's taking a tap or not earlier on. But great battle going on further up the GT Daytona field with Andrew Davis, Cedric Spirituali, and now also joining in there is Corey Lewis in the 16 Lamborghini, the green comfortable. Those three cars on the back straight now, heading towards the roller coaster. Such a difficult entry. It's quick to turn 14. You're coming up over the top of a rise. You can't see the middle point of the corner. You've got to get your turning absolutely right. Be totally confident. And then there's a dab. More than that, a big bit of braking there to get the car hauled into the apex. And then you're hard on the throttle and diving downhill through 16 and 17. Don't take too much curve on the inside of 17. Don't turn in too late into 17. Otherwise, you'll be grass cutting on driver's left. No retaining wall, not much curb on the exit of 17 either. That battling trio then for third, fourth and fifth goes across the line into the horseshoe. 2 hours, 23.5 minutes to go. Joey Hand has closed within half a second of Jan Magnussen with the fastest lap of the race of 44.1. Battles throughout the field. Nick Tandy still holding off. Tom Milner has put in the fastest first sector of the race. The Porsches are coming to light as the track gets hotter and perhaps a little greasier, or at least the 911 is. Fred McAvecchi has got 12 seconds of a gap between himself and Richard Westbrook. Westbrook not really gaining though on the back of that GTLM field. He's still 12 seconds behind McAvecchi and he's losing time to the leaders. It's now nearly 17 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, all the GTLM cars are pretty much identical lap times. I mean, yes, Joey Hand did get the best time around last time around. It was the fastest lap of the race, but I mean, they're all pretty consistent. They're going down now into the low 44s, expecting to be in the 43s pretty soon. And it's going to be a tall order for Richard Westbrook to make up that ground. There's a long way to go. There's a full course caution, of course, and he's right back in the game. Without it, he's going to struggle a little bit.
So 2 hours, 22.5 minutes to go. And battles are raging, but no one really making a dive down the inside to make up any positions. Well, we said we thought we'd find a start earlier on. She's joined us now. Sarah Robinson did a great turn at the ahead of the grids, subbing for Bib there earlier on with the gentleman's start, head of marketing for Michelin Motorsports. Nice to have your company at the Michelin GT Challenge. And I learned something from you on the grid before when you were a test driver for Michelin tyres. You did some of your first ever testing.
Absolutely, it was pretty much the dream moment of the dream job. When I started out, they said, okay, Sarah, let's get your fire suit ordered up because next week we're going to VIR, and I was kind of one of the experimental drivers when we were doing the testing for our DOT race tires on the VF Goodrich.
The competition at the head of the GTLM field, all of the cars are no rubber, absolutely immaculate at the moment. How important for you guys is it to be able to supply a product that can be matched across a variety of cars that have such presumably very different requirements, as of course McAvecchi in the background just about holds on to it. Rear-engined, rear-wheel drive, front-engined, rear-wheel drive, mid-engined, rear-wheel drive. You've got it all here, Sarah.
Right, and I mean, part of all the work that we do here at VIR and other tracks everywhere in testing is making sure that the solutions are right for each car. We want a level playing field, but you have to understand that a rear-engine platform is not going to necessarily like exactly the same construction as a front or a mid-engine car. So even amongst the different compounds that we have, you know, the medium cooled, the medium hot for the different temperature ranges, but even within that, we have different constructions for the different chassis configurations.
96 coming back out from behind the wall after that contact with the Ford earlier on. The 67 car, the Chip Ganassi Ford Racing GT, Sarah, chose to change tyres before the race. Who makes that decision? Are your technicians involved in that, or is that the team got to sit down and work that out themselves? They took the penalty and went to the back of the grid.
Right, ultimately it's a collaborative environment. You know, we've got our test engineering embedded with each race team. They work with the same team throughout the year, so they know the driver, the car setup, and they work with the race engineers to make the suggestions. Ultimately, it's the team's call.
I can understand why people want to come here with the overhead shots that we're seeing at the moment. Why do Michelin want to come here and use this circuit? What is it about the facilities here at VIR that makes this such an important place to test as well as to come and race?
Right, just like I said, with our ultra high performance street tires coming here to test, we don't pick it out of proximity. We pick it because it's such a good track at revealing the prowess of the tires and where we need to work on things so we can continue to develop, because the different types of corners, the surface is very good for wear life, and it's the ultimate kind of combination of elements that enables us to test every aspect of the tire. Same with the race team.
We've had a huge response from the enthusiastic crowds coming in over the weekend, and you've been giving them some special Michelin experiences.
So, yeah, we were really excited about the opportunity. Again, one of the reasons we wanted this to be the Michelin Challenge at VIR is because of the environment here and the fans that come to this race. This is one of the most dedicated fan bases I've ever seen. We love going to the car corrals. All the car corrals are packed. We go and give them tech talks, and they've got all these awesome questions. What's the hot pressure for my car on track? What's my setup? What do I change my camber? And we sit there and engage in those questions, and it's just fantastic. And we had the hot laps over on the Patriot course all weekend.
Oh, you scared me senselessly the day because we were having, I think it was one of the single manufacturer races, and there was a BMW charging around there, and we got a camera shot of it, and I thought, what's that doing on the track? It's the, oh, it's all right, it's on the Patriot.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that might have been me, so my bad.
Oh, so hang on a second, so you haven't given them the driving thing, clearly. Tommy Milner just having a little look at the back of Nick Tandy in the battle for 5th and 6th position. So you still get to get behind the wheel of a car and try out the Michelin product once in a while?
Yeah, I'll make a point of it. We want everyone to understand what a big deal it is to have the right tire and understand that it can transform their car. That's why we did the hot laps, because we wanted people to see, hey, we had the street version of all of our race teams, except for the Ford GT. That was a little hard to find. So we had a GT350R, but they were all OE on Michelin. Whoops, there's one.
Well, there's a Michelin tyre without a car, and that is always a bad sign. It's the number 100 BMW that has come in. Now, the wheel and tyre were intact, but there is no right rear on that car, I would say. And let's go down to our pit lane team. Jim Roller.
I was getting ready for the 27 Lamborghini pit stop, and the BMW came by me with no right rear tire. The wheel was gone. The only thing that was there was the hub. That wasn't dragging on the ground at this point. The 27 is coming in the pits behind us. The crew has gone to work on the BMW. They've lifted it up. It's taking a little bit longer. They're doing an inspection of the right rear right now to see if there's any damage or why that wheel may have come off. As soon as I get up there, John, I'll give you an update.
Thanks, Jim. Jim Roller down there. We'll finish with Sarah, who is still here from Michelin as well. Scary moment there as the wheel went flying. What we're seeing here, the technology, it seems to me now comes into our street tyres even quicker than ever before, Sarah.
Right. I mean, just like I said, our guys in the pits, their day jobs are typically designing tires for the street cars. So particularly, you know, we've got John Church down in the Ford pit, Lee Willard in the Corvette pit, all my other guys and girls down there. When they go back to work, they're designing the tires for it, the Ford GT, the Z06, the Z07 track package. So they're like, that worked pretty well on the C7R this week, and I think I'm going to try that little special sauce in the tire I'm working on for the street car.
Thanks for your support of not only into radio, but also the racing here this weekend, the Michelin GT Challenge. We'll see you down in Texas.
So grateful to be here. Thanks a lot, John.
Thanks, Sarah. Good job on the front of the grid as well. Jeremy Shaw watching this. It hasn't changed at the front. It doesn't mean anybody isn't trying, though. Jan Magnussen still leading by 0.6 of a second. Richard Westbrook has still not managed to close the gap on the leaders, but he's now only 7 seconds away from Fred Makovecki. 17 seconds, though, away from Jan Magnussen.
Yeah, he's a lot closer to Fred Makovecki, but the last couple of laps, Fred has really fallen back. He's himself now has lost 4.5 seconds to the rest of the pack over these last few laps. So for some reason, Fred Makovecki in car number 912 is struggling at the moment. Having said that, he's just set his personal best sector time in Sector 1 on the racetrack, so that's kind of interesting. But we had a couple of pit callers there. Number 27 car we heard was on the pit lane, also number 23 car. Not sure why that would be for Alex J Racing, because Mario Farmbach had made up a couple of positions over the last few laps, and then he's just lost those again by coming into the pits. It could be that this is a scheduled call, scheduled pit stop, but he can now make it to the end of the race from here on just one more pit stop.
Yeah, that would be my call as well. Jim Roller is trying to find answers at the number 100 Rahal Letterman Lanigan BMW Racing pit as to what's gone on with that right rear wheel and tyre assembly. He hasn't got any answers, because I don't think the crew have got any answers, Jim.
No, and this is one of the more forthcoming crews that we have on pit lane. They really are very helpful when you ask them questions. And of course, the PR staff is headed up by Ann Bradshaw, who's a great lady and a veteran. And she said, we got a radio transmission, I've lost the wheel, and there's no explanation. The crew's kind of scratching their heads and trying to figure out what's going on. But they did a full inspection of the right rear before putting on the new Michelin. In fact, they put 4 new Michelins on and sent him back out. So they seem to think everything was okay with that suspension hub, so they sent him back out on the racetrack. Also making pit calls have been the 80, the 23, which is the Porsche, the remaining Porsche in GTD. The 80 is the Viper who came in earlier, and also the 27 Lamborghini. And in talking to those crews, that's exactly what Jeremy called. They're in the window now where they think they can make it with one more stop.
Very big news, thanks Jim, from the 7th position car as Fred Machiavecchi coming under pressure a little bit with Richard Westbrook still 8 seconds behind him. He's just turned the fastest lap of the race, 1:44.002. As it gets hotter, the Porsches like it better. The top 5 within 5 seconds, making that the top 6 really, because Tommy Milner's only 5.1 seconds away. And at the moment, the Giancarlo Fisichella-driven Ferrari in 4th position, having just lost 3rd to Dirk Werner in the BMW, the 25 car, has Nick Tandy up his tailpipes, who's got Tommy Milner on his rear wing at the moment. In fact, to be honest, Dirk Werner is barely 50 or 60 yards up the road from that battling trio as they come down through the final part of the circuit and onto the front straight. So quick through 17, you don't really realise that till you see the onboard view. And Milner seems to get a good run onto there. Oh yes, he's pulled down the driver's right. He's coming to challenge Nick Tandy. The noses of the 2 cars dive towards the tarmac as they brake really hard. Down 1, 2, 3 gears for the first corner, but Tandy holds on to the position.
Maybe we're going to see here how the Ferrari lost the position. Yes, there it is. How he lost the position to the BMW coming up 25. So he dived to the inside of the lap car, Mario Farmbach, who had just come out of the pit lane, having made that decision to come on to the pits relatively earlier. Fizzy just left his braking way too late going into turn 1. And it looked like he swiped the Porsche as well.
And left 2 large black marks on the ground from the rear Michelin tyres as he mashed the throttle trying to keep Dirk Werner behind him, but that was, I'm afraid, a forlorn hope for Fizzy. But just again, following our IHG Rewards Club keys to the race, tight margins make the most of an advantage. He was trying to squeeze through there and hoping that perhaps his competitors couldn't get past Mario Farmbach, and doing so put himself offline and allowing Dirk Werner to go through. So Jan Magnussen leads by 0.8 of a second, then 4 seconds further back, Dirk Werner in the 25 BMW is third. So 3 Corvette, 66 Ford, 25 BMW, first, second and third. And then within a second, we've got Giancarlo Fisichella in the 62 bright red Racing Competizione Ferrari, Nick Tandy in the black and white 911 Porsche, and the Tom Milner number 4 BMW, the 100 BMW, by the way, backing along pit lane for a drive-through penalty for the fire bottle improperly manned. So that was a straight drive-through after the incident with the right rear wheel and tyre combination. The GTD is still Madison Snow, but now a 5-second gap back to Andrew Davies in second. Probably Lewis has worked his way up to third, And that means that excuse me, I will take that back. The time screen's just called up. Andrew Davis is still in third. Corey Lewis is in fourth. Ben Keating in fifth. So GTD is 48 Lamborghini, 9 Audi, 6 Audi, 16 Lamborghini, and the first non-mid-engine car is Ben Keating having a great drive in the 33 Viper in fifth position. He's 3/4 of a second ahead of sixth place Michael Marcel in the 97 car. 20 minutes down, Jeremy, exactly as we expected. Full throttle, flat out, green flag racing. Really, at the moment, Richard Westbrook's gamble does not seem to have paid off, or at least the team's gamble. He's not making ground on the leaders, and he's not now making any ground on Fred Macavecchi either, who's found in this third of his stint, if you will, in the 912 Porsche. He's found a new wind, another fastest lap last time around.
Indeed, another new fastest lap of the race, yes indeed. And what's interesting about that is I think it's just kind of exactly what we expected, because you knew if you get it offline, if you make a little bit of a mistake, you're going to lose some time. That's what happened to Fizzy. That's what happened, I think, probably to Fred Macavecchi as well. But now Fred is back into the groove again. There's nothing wrong with that car, and he's the fastest car on the track now for 2 of the last 3 laps. So the times are coming down a little bit, and that's exactly also what we would have expected.
Tom Milner, who started on the front row in the number 4 Corvette, just didn't get the pressuring right at the start of the race. Corvette telling Shea Adam down in the pit lane. He's basically just letting the car on the track come to him, settled himself down in the 6th position, but he's not losing any more time to the leaders, crucially. In fact, at the head of the field, Joey Hand has closed now to within half a second of Jan Magnussen. And we have the battle of the 2 American automotive giants. Jan Magnussen flirting with danger there as he dropped the right-hand Michelins off the edge of the curve on the exit of 10. Very, very quick over the top of the rise, left-hander heading up towards the Oak Tree turns. From 3rd down to 6th position are now, well, 4 cars pretty much in a train. You will get aero push here. You do get a disadvantage from being too close to the GT car ahead. These cars are extremely sophisticated in their aerodynamics, particularly on the front end. And indeed, one of the problems that Porsche have had with their revised version of the 2015 911 that they are running this year is their front end isn't working because of the change in the aerodynamic regulations, which pushes the centre of pressure further towards the back of the cars and allows you to use a bigger diffuser. Porsche have lost the underbody aerodynamics at the front of the car that they use to balance the rear end. And that's one of the reasons the car hasn't been as efficient and as drivable this year. It's a very, very black-hard aerodynamics. Moving things like centre pressure around can make the car beatable or drivable, I think they said about the 911. It's happened in the past with this car, which has, of course, its own very, very special characteristics. The leaders have got a little bit of traffic as 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th battle their way through the uphill S's, the climbing S's here at VIR. We've almost had 25 minutes of racing. Good news for Jan Magnussen is that he and Joey Hand have got by. It's Mike Skeen that they've just passed in the Viper. No, it wasn't. Apologies. It might have been Sergio Spirazzoli in the 27 car. This battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th will have to go through it next, and amazing just how seeing another car on the track, your competitors are going to have to pass, just gives you a little spur. And Tommy Milner will be wanting to be as close to the back of Nick Tandy, who'll want to close up on the back of Giancarlo Fisichella, who will want to be right under the rear wing of the BMW as they hit the back of the traffic that's ahead of them. And again, Tom Milner just goes to the right-hand side of the circuit, and this time, does he force a mistake from Tandy? He does, who locks and wheel for a fleeting moment, and that was enough. Tandy offline through turn 1. has to haul the car back to the right-hand side of the circuit. Loses 2, 3, 4 cars lengths and the position to Tom Milner, and now the recovering Fred Machiavecchi is right there with his teammate.
Yeah, he's close back that David. He was out for 4.7 seconds between the Tommy Milner car and Fred Machiavecchi, but in a course now of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 laps, it's reduced that to just a few car lengths again. So it just shows it shows two things. First of all, the Porsche is competitive. Secondly, I think the leaders are just kind of biding their time. I'm sure they could go quicker if they wanted.
And while he's been doing that, he's pulled away from Richard Westbrook. He's taken a couple of seconds out of Richard Westbrook in the last couple of laps. Now, Westy has sort of stabilised the gap to the leaders. He's still 17 seconds behind, but he's just put the fastest first sector of all in. That suggests to me he's got a bit of clear track. But Jan Magnussen and Joey Hand and Dirk Werner and Tom Milner are all putting their fastest sectors in up ahead of him. So Westbrook still has his work cut out, as Madison Snow is having a far easier race. A bright green number 1 on the side, showing that he is leading his class. The green colour shows it's GT Daytona. And Madison Snow now has 7 seconds on the Stevenson Audis in second and third, with Corey Lewis just sitting in half a second behind Andrew Davies. Then Ben Keating's a further 21 seconds back. And the GT Daytona field has been split apart by the pace of Madison Snow in the Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini, which in fairness has looked good since it rolled off the truck. But you've got to make the most of your advantage, says our IHG World Club keys to the race, and they have. Really enjoying the fact that he's not looking in his mirrors. This is a car that is still on the lead lap, Jeremy, and the leading light at GT Daytona saying that they were looking forward to this race as much as the GT Le Mans runners were, because without the interruption of prototypes coming round, they get to drive on the racing line far more, and their lap times are far more consistent.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This car, this number 48 car, Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini Huracan, has been the class of the field all weekend long. Madison Snow's been absolutely on top of his game this weekend. He's been super fast, super consistent every session. As you say, pulling away now from the second place car on Matt Bell. And Andy Davis, he's falling back further to third place as well. 6.8 seconds between first and second in GTD, and 11.5 seconds between second and third.
Jim Roller down in the pit lane has this Continental Tire pit lane report on the number 27, which is not having a good day.
Cedric Spears-Wally out there in the car right now, and he, on his last lap, he dropped the left rear tire off in the exit of Hog Pen, and then was pretty squirrely down the front straightaway, so he may have a flat tire. The crew is standing by waiting for him with 4 brand new Continental tires, so as soon as he comes into the pits, we'll know exactly what the situation is.
Jim Roller, Continental Tire pit lane reporter there, along with Shea Adam, Jeremy Shaw and Adrian Hindorf in the booth. So with half an hour gone, here's the highlights. Jan Magnussen leads from pole position. Tommy Milner from a front row start dropped back to 6th position, but has now regained 5th. The 27 car, by the way, has come into the pit lane, the Lamborghini, with Cedric Spears-Wally. Got a report on that from Jim Roller in a moment. Number 100 BMW lost the right rear wheel. That's dropped it out of contention for the time being. Christina Nielsen fighting her way through the field in the 63 championship leading GT Daytona Ferrari, now in 8th position. Car did drop back a little bit early on. And at the head of GT Daytona, Madison Snow stamping his authority all over a quality field, and his pace has broken that field apart. It's like when someone makes a break in the Tour de France, the peloton is trying to chase, but they are broken up, nobody being able to work together, not even the team cars. And the pace of young Madison Snow has cracked the GT Daytona field apart. Not so in GT LM, where Jan Magnussen's lead is only 7/10 of a second from Joey Hand. He's living with the pace, in fact only 4/10 now between Magnussen and Hand. Dirk Werner about 5 seconds further back.
And that's right then. He's slipping back now. The last 4 or 5 laps, he's slipping back a good half a second a lap now. In third place is Dirk Werner.
And I think he's holding Fizzy Keller up now.
Indeed, absolutely right. Fizzy made that mistake, lost the position. And now he's kind of trapped behind Dirk and can't find a way back past again.
Let's go back down to Jim Rawler, the 27, did come into the pit lane with Spiros Wally at the wheel. It wasn't a puncture, Jim?
No, I gave Zedric a little more credit than he deserved. He didn't drop just the left rear wheel off. He went all the way off the racetrack. I just saw him coming back on. As we heard from Spencer Papelli in the pre-race, if you do go off, you collect up so much grass, you do have to come in and clean that off. And that's what he did. I've got a suggestion for Connie. She could probably come down after the race with a hay baler and get enough here to feed 2 or 3 horses by the end of this race.
Yeah, if she's listening and thinks it's a marketable opportunity, here collected by race car, special edition here. Love it, Jim. Thank you. Stay on the track. Consequences without catastrophe, but an extra call to the pit lane has dropped that car further out of contention.
Andrew Davis is definitely struggling down at the third place, kind of a 6th for Stevens Motorsports. He's falling back. He fell back by a second on that last lap to the sister car ahead of him on Matt Bell. Really under intense pressure now from Corey Lewis in that chain racing Lamborghini. I'm sure Corey feels he is faster. Can't find a way past.
It's amazing, Jeremy, isn't it, how even the GT Daytonas now are so aerodynamically efficient. You can't get to follow, particularly on some of these quicker sweeping areas. It's so difficult to get into a position to pass. Thank goodness then that here at VIR there are some heavier braking areas at the end of long straights.
Yeah, that is true. That does give them opportunity, and if they can position their cars correctly and make the pass smoothly, then that is their best opportunity to do so. But we've seen how easy it is just to slide a little bit wider. You slide offline, and then you lose momentum, and somebody's going to pass you because that's how close the field is. Guys, who's I'm slightly surprised that Ben Keating hasn't been able to keep a slightly better pace. He's in 5th place in GTD, but fallen back a long way from Corey Lewis and Andrew Davis, who are battling for the position. Michael Marzol hanging on there with Ben Keating, as is John Potter, as is Christina Nielsen. But all those contenders now are about to be passed by our race leaders, overall leaders.
Who are led by Jan Magnussen by half a second from Joey Hand, who are trading hundreds and thousands of a second. Giancarlo Fisichella is back up into 3rd position. That's correct. Yes.
25 car gone.
Where's the 25 car? Dirk Werner's dropped way back. It's Tom Milner in 3rd position. Yes, I thought it was. Fisichella is in 4th, ahead of the 2 Porsches led by Peter Tandy. We've lost Dirk Werner out of that battle. So Fisichella for a moment was scored in 3rd. Fisichella coming up towards the back of Dirk Werner, coming into the left hook. Werner gets very wide onto the curb. Fisichella comes up alongside on the right-hand side. Has to go onto the grass to avoid, and Werner just going wide and letting 1, 2, 3, 4 cars through. So Fisichella at the timing point was scored in 3rd for a moment. Now, was there the tightest of touches here between the 2 cars? If it was very marginal, but Fisichella ruined his speed under the Michelin bridge, and that was where Milner was able to sneak through on the inside of the climbing S's and make that position. Just had the pass through under the timing loop there. But Fisichella for a moment was into 3rd, but Dirk Werner off the track and down to 7th position behind the 2 Porsches. So Magnussen by 1.2 seconds all of a sudden. Joey Hand drops away. And that is in the 1st sector there. Joey Hand has lost a second to Jan Magnussen. Tom Milner in the Chevy Corvette making his way back up to 3rd position from that front row start.
And the reason Joey Hand would have lost the time there is because he's passing those GTD cars. There's 4 of them actually pretty much almost nose to tail, not quite, with a little bit of gap between them. But the first one we had to negotiate with Christina Nielsen, number 63 Ferrari, then John Potter, number 44 car, next in line. number 97, Michael Marsell, and Ben Keating. What says the Tommy Milner's way off the road at turn 8, losing a lot of ground as well. And he's going to be in the pits as well. Look how much grass there is in the radiator duct.
Now again, that was just that's turn 10 again. That big wobble from the rear end. We saw people doing that this morning. Tom Milner is in the pit lane. Jim Roller, he's driven past Jim at the entrance to the pit. He should be coming down towards us. Where are the yellow headlights? Here they are. Shea Adam is down at Corvette Racing.
Tommy Milner should be staying behind the wheel, but he has a lot of grass in his front grille. This was not a scheduled pit stop, but the Corvette Racing boys and girls are ready for him. As always, new Michelin stickers going onto the four-car, and a big get well soon Fiona sticker on the rear bumper. Fiona Miller, we're all thinking of you. Fuel still going in. The brakes are steaming. There's loads of grass pouring out of the front right of the car. When they took the wheel off, it took the wheels out as well. Tommy goes back out, spraying lots of dust and grass. Good stop by the number 4 crew.
What they've got to do now, Jeremy, is they've got to make a virtue out of that pit stop. 1 hour 53 minutes to go. They could probably make it on one more stop from there, and that might not hurt them that much in the grand scheme of things.
Indeed, other than the fact they lost a lot of track position with that big off through the grass there. I mean, that cost probably at least 10 seconds or more, I would think. And that, as competitive as this field is, that's going to be tough to make up.
True enough.
As we've seen by Richard Westbrook, I mean, he's catching up to the other tail, to the other main train of cars in GTLM, but mainly only because the other guys are making mistakes.
By the way, we add our best wishes to Fiona Miller, who's missed in this paddock over the years. He's been a good friend to many teams and drivers here, currently working with the World Endurance Championship. He should be on our way to Mexico at the moment. He's poorly in the UK hospital fee. Not sure if you're listening, but I'm sure you'll be catching up with this some way, somehow. And we wish you all the best for a speedy recovery and a return to the paddocks of endurance racing around the world. Best to Andy as well, as Keating's gone off. 33 car, Ben Keating from 5th position, engages first gear. This was coming out of turn 5, and he's got away with that, just bounced off the tyres, and he's barely, he hasn't even lost a position, as he's lost 2 positions, that's all. Nielsen goes through. As out of the lead in GTD, the Lamborghini, Madison Snow in the pit lane, Jim Roller.
Madison Stowe has brought his car to a stop, and also coming in is the 9 car from Stevenson Racing. Matt Bell, Lawson Aschenbach, their front 2 cars in the class have making their pit stops. Madison Snow has gotten out, and Brian Seller, or actually, yes, Brian started the race. So Brian has gotten out of the car, and Madison Snow has gotten in. Up at Stevenson, the stop is going well. They're changing the tires, driver change going on there. Also in is the number 16 car. Spencer Propelli will be getting in that car. Driver change going on for the 16. So we've got 2 of the Lamborghinis are in. Fuel is done. Madison Snow is away. Waiting for the fuel to finish on the number 9 car. The fuel is done. The number 9 car is away. 97 is also in. Here comes the 44. So all of the GTD competitors, the 44 Audi, all the GTD competitors have decided now is the time to come to the pits. Here comes Ben Keating as well, another competitor with a grill absolutely full of grass from his big off that you reported on moments ago.
And Christina Nielsen also coming in. She's just been off at turn 10 as well. I'm going to suggest that the driver change that you thought you might have seen at the 48 was Brian Sellers handing over a new bottle. He tends to do that, Jim, because I'm pretty certain it was Madison who had to start that car because he qualified the car.
Thank you. I thought that was the case. Got confused myself.
No, it's all right. 63 is in after that big off at turn 10 from Christina Nielsen.
More grass packed into the grill of the 63 than I've seen on any car so far this weekend. Andy Lally's driver change is complete in the number 44 Magnus Audi as he goes back out. John Potter's work is done for the day. 33 of Jerome Bleekemolen just comes by me in the Dodge Viper. And the 63 Scuderia Corse Ferrari goes back out with Alessandro Balsam behind the wheel. But we are expecting the number 3 Corvette in any second because Antonio Garcia is up on the wall. I'll let you know when he's in, John.
6 car is in the pit lane out of what is now the lead of GTD. Interesting strategies being played out here. Jim Roller is at that end of the pit lane.
Yeah, and Robin Liddell will take over the 6 car. He's already in. The 3 car is coming by me. He'll be on his way to make a call in front of Shea Adam. Robin Liddell hopes his pit stop will be done before the Corvette even gets there. The tires are done. Robin's in. The fuel is, as soon as that's done, he'll be on his way. Let's go to Shea.
The 3 Corvette has come to a stop perfectly on its mark. Jan Magnussen's job is done for the day. He's got a bit of dirt on the right-hand leg of his driving suit, so he's been working pretty hard. Antonio Garcia already installed. Jim, what's happening down there?
Well, Robin Liddell had a little trouble getting the car going, and then he lit up the Contis as he headed out down the pit lane. They started out the exception as stickers, but they are stickers no more.
That sound that you just heard was Antonio Garcia putting the 3 Corvette into gear and taking it back out onto the track. Antonio trying to get his first ever win at Virginia International Raceway, and Jan Magnussen handed him the perfect car to be able to do it.
I find it very interesting to see the difference in tactics here of whether you leave the starting driver in or you change them. 4 Corvette back in the pit lane, I'm hearing, and this is possibly a drive-through penalty. Let me look at the screen. And about that. That is a drive-through penalty for the number 4 car. Nothing from race controllers yet, but I'll get that in a moment. Jeremy.
Yeah, well, depends on what your driver lineup is. For many of these teams, for 50 minutes minimum for the GTD drivers to compete, silver drivers to compete, that is now done. So they can come in, the faster driver can get in. That's people like Andy Lally getting in the car, and others as well. In GTLM, they're all pro lineup, so it doesn't really make much difference. It's just a question of how they feel it's the best way to go. Number 66 car gives up the lead to come onto pit lane. Fisichella now is on new race leader. And incidentally, on that last lap, Joey Hand, before he came in, set the fastest lap of the race in car number 66, now on pit lane.
The 911 has come into the pit. Stick Tandy gets out. That means it's time for Patrick Pilet to climb aboard. The tires are already changed on this car. This is a lightning quick stop by the Porsche guys. It's taking forever to get the fuel in compared to what it took to get Pilet and the tires on. Let's go to Shea as the Fords come in.
Very similar situation down here, Jim. It took a lot longer for the fueling to get done for Dirk Mueller, who now takes over the wheel of the number 66 Ford GT, handing it over from Joey Hand. Fuel and tires only for them.
25 is in. Bill Oberlin climbs behind the wheel of that BMW, and he has headed back out already. Another quick stop for those boys. 4 tires, driver change, and fuel. Next to come in will be Fred Makavicki in the 912. Earl Bamber standing by on the wall, suited and booted, ready to go.
And I can tell you that the drive-through for the 4 car was for a crew member working on the car from behind the wall. They used an air hose to blow the grass out of the front of the car, which would have been fine, but it was an additional crew member that was doing it from the wrong side of the wall, and that was the drive-through for Tom Milner and the number 4 Corvette. That is very uncharacteristic of the Brian Miller Corvette team. Oh, and he's off again! Same corner, turn 10. Milner gets squirrely coming through into turn 10 and over the rise, and now he comes through. Now he'd have filled the radiators up again. I think that time he didn't go quite as far off. 62 leading the race. Giancarlo Fisichella in the pit lane from the 912 of Fred Makavicki. Those 2 teams now going to work. Jim Roller.
Well, in this case, it will be Fred McAveeky getting out of the 912. Earl Bamber is in. The tires are done. The fuel is done, almost done. The Ferrari is in. Tony Vilander will be getting into that car. Fisichella gets out. The tires are done on that car. There goes the Porsche. Let's check in with Ford.
67 Ford GT comes to a stop perfectly on its marks. A little bit of issue opening the gullwing style door to try and get Richard Westbrook out from behind the wheel. Both the 912 and the 62 have let the fifth lane. This is the car that started at the back, and it now has Ryan Briscoe. 4 new Michelin tires. A bit of grass kicked up as he left his pit box.
Remember, that was the car that started at the back of the grid, the 67 Ford, having changed tyre compound. Ryan Briscoe now in 6th position as he goes out of the pit lane. I'm not sure about that. I think Bill Oberlin got out in front of him. The 3 and 66 were absolutely side by side into the first corner, disputing the lead. That's Antonio Garcia and Dirk Muller having taken over those two cars, but the battle remains just as hot as it was before. I do think, however, the Ford has made up some positions there, because I've got a feeling the 67 car is ahead of one of the Porsches. It's ahead at least of Patrick Peely in the 911, so that was very rapid pit work. The fuel fill times are part of the balance of performance, but Peely closes in on the uphill S's. Is there a problem for the Ford? The Ford is going very slow indeed. The 67 cruising up the hill. We've seen this before from restarts and coming out of pits. The outlap from Ryan Briscoe very, very slow indeed, to the point where it almost looks like there's a problem. It just takes them so long, I think, to get heat back into the Michelin tyres. Patrick Peely's got a heat problem of a different type, because the front grills on the 911 are filled with grass. So all of that good work done by the pit stop and the 67 has been undone by a slow outlap. If you remember, Richard Westbrook was unable to close in on the leaders and was about 18 seconds behind the leaders before the pit stop started. They've gained a huge amount of time in the pits. I don't know what it is about how Chip Ganassi do their pit stops and how they do the fuel fill, but they have a massive advantage in the pit stops. They seem to stand still a lot less, far fewer seconds than everyone else. I reckon they made up about 4 or 5 seconds there, maybe more, but that slow outlap hasn't helped them, and now they've dropped back to 21 and a half seconds behind the leaders. So, net, after the first set of pit stops, 4 hour leaders, it's still the number 3 Corvette leading. All new drivers now, so it's Antonio Garcia behind the wheel of the number 3 by 2.2 seconds. Dirk Muller in 2nd place for Ford, for Chip Ganassi Ford Racing. Earl Bamber confirmed 3rd position for the 912 Porsche. He's another 1.2 seconds further back and has 5 seconds in hand over Tony Vilander in the 62 Ferrari. Risi coming out of those pit stops as well positioned as they were before it. It's another 9 seconds back to the 911 of Patrick Peely in 5th position. So the Porsche has 5 seconds now on Ryan Briscoe in the 67 Ford, starting at the back of the grid, remember, in 7th position. Bill Oberlin now behind the wheel of the 25 BMWs, a further 5 seconds behind the Ford, and the GTLM field is made up by Tom Milner, 9 seconds further back after a drive-through in the 8th position, and then John Edwards with the delayed BMW, having had the problem with the right rear wheel, another half a minute further back. Fred McAveeky is out of the Porsche and talking to Continental Tire pit lane reporter Jim Roller.
Fred, it's the end of your first stint here at VIR. What do you think of this place?
It's amazing. You enjoy every part of the track, and every lap is a really cool pleasure, and it's fantastic. We have changed that the weather is there, and it's a nice part of the track.
Now you guys seem to be able to go faster and faster throughout that stint as the weather got warmer. Your car likes the heat, doesn't it?
Yeah, we have the car really consistent, which is really positive. But how it was, not to protect the dog, like I have a lot of tools, that's why we do protect a lot of car in the pit stop. And this is positive. Now we must try to keep and stay behind the other one, because if you can do it the same, maybe we are there too.
Well, good job. Your first stint, he was able to turn the car over, and then in the pit stop, John, they were able to climb all the way to third. That's the best position we've seen Forge in a long time.
Our IHG rewards them keys to race had fuel as one of them. Saving fuel is just as important as not running out, and Machiavecchi decided not to try and race too hard. He saved fuel. It saved them time in the pit stop. Why? Because they didn't have to put so much fuel back in to fill it up to the top of the tank. The fuel goes in at a specific rate. That saves time. That gives you track position. Nice job, Machiavecchi. Straight down to Matt Bell out of the Stevenson Audi. By the way, before we go there, Jim, just give me a second. Let's just run down the GT Daytona standings. 4 seconds at the head of the field between Madison Snow, who stayed aboard the 48 Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini. It is the number 9 Audi in second place, the Stevenson Motorsport car, and there's 11 seconds between that and now the 23 Porsche Mario Farnbacher in third position, with Robin Liddell 8 seconds further back in the 6 Stevenson Audi in fourth position. Go ahead with Matt Bell, Jim Roller.
Yeah, Matt, excellent stint. It seemed like you were able to stay with Madison for a while, but then you were giving it everything you had, but you didn't really have much for him.
Yeah, you know, to be honest, I think if I dug a little deeper early on, I probably could have held on to him. His absolute lap time is a little bit faster than mine. To be honest, we're actually just kind of saving fuel out there. We know there's been a DOT change. We know, we are a little bit faster, closer to what we would consider fair on the fuel time. So we're going to try to take advantage of that and just try to stay out as long as we can. It worked for the VIR. We actually have same thing on the Lamborghini.
Well, good luck the rest of the way. Interesting strategy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if it works.
All right, so there you go, John. We're starting to hear, what did they say, twice is a coincidence, 3 is a pattern. We're starting to see that saving fuel is as important as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, absolutely right, Jim Roller, down in the pit lane for our Continental Tire pit lane report. Those early stoppers, Jeremy, in GT Daytona, 63 Ferrari notably, championship leader.
Slow 16 car is slow.
Oh, right, okay, that is Spencer Pumpelly behind the wheel of that car as it went past us down into the horseshoe.
Yeah, so let's just recap then after those pit stops. The big gainer then was that number 912 Porsche, up from 7th before the pit stops to 3rd afterwards. The other interesting thing to me now is Antonio Garcia is pulling away quite quickly at the moment from Dirk Mueller for some reason. The gap was a couple of seconds. Now it's out to 3.5 over the last couple of laps. I don't think there's been any traffic to play into that. And then on the last lap, the previous lap to this one, number 911 car must have been off the road somewhere, because that lost a whole chunk of ground to the number 62 Ferrari. He's now got the number 67 car. Ryan Briscoe is hot on the heels now of Patrick Pilet in the number 911 Porsche.
Just a thought running through my mind, remembered by some of our listeners and viewers. The early stoppers, notably the 33 Ben Keating, the 63 Christina Nielsen. How are they doing for driving time? What are the minimums here for Pro-Am?
50 minutes, I think.
Right,
So yeah, that was already done. Yeah, 50 minutes for GTD. So that was already done. That's why we saw that rash of pit stops there for GTD. They didn't need to come in at that stage, necessarily. But
they did it on the 50-minute mark.
Yeah, plus that means you can run 3 fairly equal stints through the race too.
Yeah, we've seen that play dividends in the past, haven't we? Shea Adam has this Continental Tire pit lane report with recent competiciones Giancarlo Fisichella.
Giancarlo fresh out of the car. It's very hot out there and hard battling. You have to be aggressive to make up any sort of positions, but did you enjoy the battles you were having out there?
Yeah, it was a bit aggressive battle sometimes at a big moment, especially with the Corvette. But you know, it's racing. Today it's really hot. The grip level is quite low, and it's difficult to keep the car on the ground. Easy to make mistakes, so it's important to be very precise and very concentrated on it.
This is the site of your last win and Reese's last win. Do you still enjoy this track?
Yeah, I really enjoy the track. It's one of my favorite tracks. I hope to do well today, but it's difficult. Even other people are really strong.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I think my hay concession idea, John's going to be a winner. The number 16 car has come into the pits based on you and Jeremy talking to us about the car going off earlier. Lots of grass in the front of that. Just clean off, top him up with fuel and send him back.
Thank you very much, Jim. An hour and 35 minutes to go, Jeremy.
Yes, indeed. So we're over halfway through not quite halfway through the race, are we? But it's exactly as we expected to pan out, I think, at this stage. And apart from those various, perhaps rather one or two more areas than we expected, but then again, perhaps not. It's a difficult track surface out there. The drivers, it's just like I said before the start of the race, you can't really put your finger on it, but it just isn't the same sort of feel these cars normally have for some of the drivers, particularly if you step off the racing line.
It's been very much in mind of Watkins Glen earlier on the season when people came with cars and setups that they would have used year after year after year and couldn't find a balance on the car. Getting exactly the same as that here. There's a confidence in these drivers to push hard. Margins that we are at here, cars on the track biting back. As Jeremy Whiteley says, it was Jan Magnussen who said to me earlier in the weekend, grip online is phenomenal, offline, not so much. I like that. I have no issue with that, by the way. That is no criticism from me at all. The preparation, the standard of preparation of this whole facility is without peer. The Michelin GT event here is already a success. Certainly from numbers of easy ups, lawn chairs, and the amount of people who've been in the paddock all over this weekend would show that it's been a hit with the fans. I don't think there was any rooming on site available. All the lodges were taken. Speaking with one or two people who have availed themselves of that comfort, that is a really interesting option. Actually, I should be saying, no, it's rubbish, so we've got half a chance of staying on site next year, but sadly I can't in all good conscience say that that's true, because everyone's been raving about it. The battles continue then out on the racing circuit with an hour and a half just over still to go. And I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Antonio Garcia, last time around, a 1:43.8. That's 3.5 seconds in the head of the field from Dirk Muller. Battles in GT Daytona. Sees Marcus Paltala in 6th position, just ahead of Andy Lally as they come across the line. Head out towards the first corner and down the inside, a very, very decisive dive. Four-way flashes on the Audi. Somebody content Andy can turn those off. He probably thinks he's towing someone on a street luge at the moment. Andy Lally clocked 107 miles an hour, being towed behind a street car here with all correct permissions done. He's trying to break the world downhill street luge record on an 18% descent in Canada, I think he said somewhere.
Yeah, it's a competition up there in Canada. Is it north of somewhere up there?
He's designed his own street luge, something that he's done for some time as being world champion in that discipline. The current record is 90-something miles an hour. I think it's 96 or 97 miles an hour. He wanted to see if he could do 10 miles an hour better. Couldn't.
As one would.
As you do, well, you know, when you've got some time off. Yes, that's the first thing I think of doing. And he was big of an engineering mind. Decided he'd better test the luge at that speed. Smart boy. So he had Spencer Pumpelly touring around the circuit here at 107 miles an hour earlier in the weekend. Jeremy and I just giggled when he was telling us about it on the air earlier in the week. If you weren't with us here on IMSA Radio, it's at Andy Lally, by the way. and follow that. I'm sure we'll bring you some updates on what IMSA drivers do when they're not at the circuit. Andy Lally fills every waking moment with speed. 96 has come back in to the pits, and I think it's gone back behind the wall again. Yes. Patrick Pile, Tony Violander clocking decent laps. Mike Skeen in the number 80 Dodge in the 5th position now. But nobody in GT Daytona has got anything to counter the pace of Madison Snow in number 48 Formula Racing Lamborghini. Those of you with long memories will remember the controversy at the start of the season with Lamborghini at Daytona and the Rolex 24 at Daytona. They are the only manufacturer in GT Daytona who haven't taken a victory thus far this year. And is this the day that that stat falls over and is banished to the history books? The cars have been blindingly quick since they rolled off the truck on Thursday for the promoted test. The mid-engine cars have, generally speaking, done better. But I've got to say, once again, the 23 Alex Job Racing Porsche finding pace when it matters. 3rd position for those guys. They are not out of the championship. The only Porsche here, because their team car and the Park Place team deciding that the cars weren't competitive and were being dealt a bad hand by IMSA's technical department, basically saying that the cars were undrivable for their non-pro drivers. And the decision made by the teams to withdraw them for the rest of the season. We hope that they'll reconsider that, of course.
Yeah, Mario Farback are now up into 3rd place. They're running a slightly different strategy. They came in way early, so they will be the first of the GTD runners to make their 2nd pit stop. The other car that's running really, really well in GTD that's worth a note is car number 80 for Lone Star Racing. Mike Skeen also took over early from Dan Knox. So he's been charging along there up into the top 5 in GTD for that car. It's not running a full season, but they will be out again next time at Dan's home racetrack at Circuit of the Americas. It's from Pilot Point in Texas.
45.7, the best lap for that car the last time around. The gamble to put the 67 car in the back of the grid seemingly not paying off at the moment. Or, well, you say that, of course, how much worse might it have been if they stayed on the same tyres. The 66 car is in 2nd position. They are in 6th position, but are now almost 30 seconds behind the leaders. Started off at about 10. Richard Westbrook capped it at round about 17, but it's got out another 13 seconds or so since Ryan Briscoe has got in the car. And that, by the way, despite the fact that they had a blistering quick pit stop that put them ahead of the 25 BMW. So the lead is now 3.2 seconds. Antonio Garcia is stretching his legs at the head of the field. Dirk Muller puts it at 43.3 last time around and grabs half a second back. The gap between 1st and 2nd just fluctuating here and there. Battle at the moment is between Ryan Briscoe in the 67 and Patrick Pile. Yeah, it's the battle for 5th position.
Yeah, and Tommy Milner is close onto the tail also pretty much of Bill Odlin too, having had that extra drive-through penalty and a couple of off-course excursions.
And Obamba is starting to close on Dirk Muller, although Dirk took a couple of laps from it last time. We know that this will concertina back up before the end of the race. All of the GTLM cars need one more pit stop. In fact, all of the cars need one more pit stop. Just one more. Seems to me pretty much everybody has decided to make this 3 relatively equal runs. We've talked about this before in endurance racing, whether even in a 4 or 6 hour race, it's better to split the stint levels up, stint lengths up, at relatively equal times. Now, Jeremy, you were mentioning the 23 was off kilter. Jim Roller has it rolling past him at the moment.
Indeed, John, the 23 and the 80, the two cars that pitted very early in the pit stop sequences, have come to the pit lane for their second stop today. Also, the 100 BMW crew is connected to the wall. The fueler is ready, standing by for the 100 to come in. If you recall, that car got way off sequence because of its losing a tire and having to drive through penalty and all sorts of fun stuff. But driver change, tires and fuel for the 23 and the 80. 23 heads back out. And as we predicted, here comes the number 100, chugging down the pit lane on its pit lane speed limit. These cars sound so wonderful until you push that button on the steering wheel. Lucas Luhr goes flying around the rear of the car. He jumps in. Long, lanky Lucas Luhr has got to fold himself up to get into this car. John Edwards, also quite a tall fellow. He is helping Lucas with the belts as hear the guns doing the tires. The engine is fired, fuel is done. That's a pretty good stop.
Two Continental Tire Berlin Report, and thanks to our friends at Continental Tire for the warm cookies that we're delivering at Little Tire School. Very nice indeed.
9-12 car, third place car, Bambi. He lost a little bit of ground on that last lap. Really had a bit of a excursion somewhere. He lost about, well, over 3/4 of a second, but that's a lot in these days of how close these cars are matched. There's the overall race leader, Antonio Garcia, puts a lap on the GTD leader, remains Madison Snow at the Formula Racing car number 48. So on lap 44, the number 48 car is now been one lap down to the overall lead. He's extending his lead in GTD. Is Madison Snow. He's out to about 10 seconds now over Lawson Aschenbach. He started off about 3 seconds after the pit stops, but that just gradually stretching out. The third place, the sister BMW, Audi, of Stephen Smith, with Robin Liddell at the wheel of car number 6. He's about 15 seconds farther back.
Let's check in with John Edwards at BMW. Jim Roller has this Continental Tire Berlin Report.
Well, John, that was a pretty eventful stint for you. Did you get any warning that tire was leaving, or was it just a bad country song?
Yeah, it was eventful, but not in a good way. I had one tire go rolling off, and I had a puncture on another one, so not really the way we wanted it to go. We filled it up, went out, and we're still working on it, but didn't get it, so now we're back to being left down. Creative strategy to get back.
You got no warning when the wheel fell off?
No, just in 15, I had a little bit of a wiggle. Started looking at my tire pressure monitor signals at 17, and that was about the time I saw it go rolling across in my rear view camera. So really, no warning until 15.
Lucky it was dead.
Yeah, lucky it was, so we could get back out. But they were last place.
I got to try and describe this for our fans of radio. John has just put on this really radical vest. This thing is it's called Hyper Cool, K-E-W-L, and it's a vest that has ice packs in it. Can I borrow this?
You might want to invest in one. The team got them. I don't know how expensive they are, but maybe you should talk to Radio Le Mans, get them to invest in for you guys running up and down.
It's pretty slick, John.
No. We've got plenty. We've got air conditioning here. We don't need that kind of technology, Mr. Roller. And Shea's very good at finding ice cream anyway in the pit lane.
Thanks to Jeannie, who just brought down a strawberry shortcake popsicle for me.
In case anybody thinks that we take this terribly seriously.
I just saw her turn down an ice cream sandwich.
She was waiting for the strawberry shortcake sundae.
Okay. You should see the crowd around Jeannie right now. Poor thing. She's being mobbed.
Thank you to Marion's Catering for looking after not just us, but most amongst the teams in the pit lane. Genie down here with goodies for the team. It is a real, I suppose, family atmosphere in the paddock of Inter. And good to know that everyone is being looked after. I should mention that on hot days like this, our Continental Tire pit lane reporters never have to worry about being hydrated because all of the teams have coolers there, and they are not only told that it's okay, they are bothered by them. Have you had enough to drink? Take some water, every single team. And that's the same for the Inter marshals and workers in the pit lane as well. Everyone looking after everyone else. It's a lovely atmosphere.
Can't go more than about a pit box, John, without somebody sticking a bottle of water in the It's wonderful. I really appreciate it.
Now out on the track, that camaraderie is still respect, but the competitive element begins to take over. And Ryan Briscoe has Patrick Pilet in his sights now. This is the 67 Ford GT in 6th position. The 911, 911 Porsche 911 in 5th position. They're at the southern end of the racetrack at the moment, just coming out of the right-hander at Oak Tree. No Oak Tree there anymore, sadly. That bit of dust in an electrical storm a few years ago now. The old stump was taken out some years ago. Rightly still remembering that fabulous landmark that used to be at the far end of the circuit from where we are now. So here's how it looks then, with just on 80 minutes to go. Antonio Garcia has had his lead trimmed to about 1.8 seconds by Dirk Muller, 3 from 66. Earl Bamber, tantalisingly, slightly frustrating for the Kiwi, 5 seconds further back. Tony Vilander 3.5 further back from that. The top 4 now with 10 seconds covering them. In GT Daytona, it's still the red, black and chrome of the 48. It's the Lamborghini of Paul Miller Racing in the hands of Madison Snow, 8 seconds to the good ahead. The number 9 Audi in 2nd place. Robert Littell 20 seconds further back from his teammate in 3rd.
Yeah, and it's interesting how that sort of gap has altered over the last few laps, because it was sort of 3, 4, then 5 seconds, and all of a sudden stretched out to over 10. Last couple of laps we come down from 10.6 to 9.0 to 8.3, and now below 8 seconds. That's interesting, don't know why. A little bit farther back down the road, we've got the 2 Stevenson Racing Audis there, pretty much on their own. And then a big gap back to Andy Lally, who's now up to 4th place in the class in the Magnus Racing Porsche. He hasn't really been able to pull away from Marcus Paltela in number 97, Motorsport BMW, nor Jerome Blakemon, who actually closed in on that little battle in car number 33, the Viper, but won last time out of Road America. Also on that train of cars is Spencer Propelli. I talked about number 16 coming slowly past here, and in about 15 minutes or so ago, it lost, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 positions, but it's now fully up to speed again and closing in on that little train of cars. So we've got a pretty good battle now for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th in the GTD. And in fact, not too far behind that also is Alexander Balzan and Cedric Virtuali as well.
Battle between Ford and Porsche, 5th overall, and 5th in GT. Le Mans, of course, is going through turn number 3 at the moment. Plenty of people still on the fence line there in the hot sunshine here at VIR. And Pilet now has his mirrors full of the red, white and blue Chip Ganassi Racing Ford under the Michelin Bridge, climbing now through the snake and the uphill of the climbing S's. Short straight to the left-hander at turn 10, slightly downhill, then flattening out, and off course Pilet at 10. He's grass cutting again. That's at least the 3rd time we've seen a Porsche off there, and he will have to pit. The whole of the front end of the Porsche grille is covered in grass cuttings. It's another bale of hay for Jim Roller to pedal out as a special edition later on. But again, the IHG Rewards Club keys to the race proving to be so true as Pele makes a small mistake. Not huge consequences in terms of a damaged car that goes behind the wall. The consequences, though, Jeremy, of not staying on the track will be an extra pit stop, which will take that car out of contention in terms of its position on the road.
And coincidentally, I was just about to say, when you noticed that, the number 912 car all of a sudden lost about 3 seconds on the previous lap. The gap from second to third now is out over 7 seconds. It
And
was
the third,
about
he's off again. He's off again. And that's a turn 3. And that's positions lost for Earl Bamber. So in the space of half a minute, and Bamber stopped on the circuit. Ah, I see what he did. He braked really, really hard to get rid of the worst of it out of the front of the car. With nothing behind him. Very clever, Earl Bamber. He's still got some in there, but nowhere near as much as he had. He'll try and wiggle a bit more out under heavy braking as he goes up the hill. The team will be watching the pictures that we have in the booth. Well, that was very clever indeed. He nearly goes off at turn 10 in the wheel tracks of his teammate. He's already dropped down a couple of 3 positions. I'm sure I saw a BMW going by. He was a very long way off. He's got rid of most of the grass, though, in the front end. He's dropped down behind his teammate, I reckon. See when he comes through the timing at the end of the back straight. Still scored at the moment in 4th position on our screens. Vilander, Bamber, Briscoe and Pele yet to complete that second sector. Well, let's see. As it comes to the end of the lap, Garcia leads by a smaller margin now as Dirk Muller closes in just under 1.5 seconds. Dirk Muller second, then 3:66.62. 9.12 Bamber. He's held on to 4th position. That's a shocker. But he's dropped, Jeremy, 13 seconds behind Tony Vilander as in comes Patrick Pele. Had to happen, Jim Roller.
Yes, it did, John, because a huge amount of grass just fell out the grill when he came to a stop. Lots of smoke coming out from underneath the front wheels as a lot of that grass gets up in the suspension of the car when it goes up. Frankly, burns. 4 tires and fuel, no driver change, obviously. Patrick heads down the pit lane in a cloud of flying grass and smoke.
It's like there was some liquid coming out the left rear. That
came in during the lunch break.
Jim Roller has been...
protein bar, sorry.
I'll try and make sure he does that. He goes off a different time next time. Good report there. Thank you.
Excellent, Jim. Thank you. The Patrick Pele 911 back into the fray. Cedric Sprue as well. He's not had a great day today. The 27 back in the pit lane for a more regular looking pit stop. Oh, as I say that, have they got all the tyres on before they dropped it? Yes, they have. They've done the grills as well. Fuel still going in. Well, Antonio Garcia continues at the head of the field. Troubled by what's going on behind him.
Yeah, and he's just set his best lap of the race too on that last time round, a 43.172 for Antonio Garcia, but he's not pulling away from Dirk Muller, because Muller is now mirroring that gap. It was about 4 seconds, or as much as 4 seconds. It's come down now a little bit more than a second, about 5 laps ago. Something must have got in the way of Antonio Garcia, causing him to lose a bit of ground at lap 45, and now just completed lap 50. He lost a couple of seconds there. Since then, he's got the Ford GT, 15-20 car lengths behind him.
Tony Vilander up to 3rd in the 62 Ferrari. Ryan Briscoe has just put the fastest first sector in of anyone in his quest to chase down Earl Bamber. So Earl's little whoopsie, 1 or 2 to go. Antonio Garcia He's just put in the fastest middle sector of all. I reckon we need, what, another 4 or 5 laps from these guys before they can safely pit and get to the end. About an hour for the GTLM cars, Jeremy? 55 minutes, something like that?
Yes.
Oh, Garcia's just put the fastest lap of the race in, Jeremy, 43.1.
Yeah, and it was 43.17 last time around, this time 43.1. So yeah, he's got the hammer down. About 4/10 of a second over the second place car on that lap.
10 minutes for the GTD cars before they can think about making their final stops.
Mike Skeen is flying on there, and that's in the number 80 Lone Star Racing Viper. He's a lap down in GTD, but he's been hanging on to Madison Snow for the last, I don't know, well, half a dozen laps or so since he made that pit stop, his second pit stop of the day, 8 laps to go. Well, because he made one extra pit stop.
Of course he has, yes. And then those two, 23 and the 8, you're on a different strategy. Thank you, Jeremy. Why Brain has gone to mush this afternoon. As he was in 5th position. When else makes their pit stop, of course, he will cycle through. Then he'll have to do a splash somewhere near the end of the race. So where are the battles at the moment? Well, at the head of the field, Antonio Garcia and Dirk Muller are still duking it out. They might not be wheel to wheel, door handle to door handle. They are trading small fractions of seconds. 43.1 for Garcia last time around, a 43.6 for Muller. That's just taking the gap out to 1.5 seconds. Muller's fighting back. This is his best lap in the car. In fact, the car's best lap as well at the moment. As through goes Garcia. 42.9, fastest lap of the race for Dirk Muller. And interesting, doesn't take a best sector. Wow. 36.5, 38.8, 27.5, 3 sectors. Tony Violander putting his fastest lap of the 62 cars racing as well, albeit in a rather distant 16 seconds away from 7th. 62 cars in 3rd. So Earl Bamber still to come in. His pit box at the moment full of grass from the 911. Internecine rivalry as the 911 for Pele is filled with grass from the 911 and Pele blown out into the pit box of the 912. The guys from the 912 have now got to clear it up. Madison Snow sets number 48's Lamborghini's fastest lap of the race as he stretches out to over 13 seconds now ahead of the first of the Stevenson Audis in 2nd place, Robert Littell. Still 25 seconds further back from his teammate in 3rd. And it's Andy Lally in the 44 dark grey Magnus Racing Audi. Marcus Paltella for the first of the front engine cars will be up to the 5th position. That's the 97 car. He's another 2 seconds, check that 1.1 seconds further back. I'm enthralled as we head towards the last pit stop, Jeremy. The IHG Rewards Club keys to the race. We said strategy, be brave on long greens. No one's had the chance at the front of the field to do anything particularly funky, but I tell you what, the pit crews are under pressure now because in 3 or 4 laps time, when the leaders come in, it's going to be all about how quick they can turn those 2 cars around, the GM Chevy Corvette and the Chip Ganassi Ford GT.
Yeah, it's game time now because Antonio Garcia just reclaimed fastest lap on this time around, a 42.954, but his number 66 car that bettered that with a 142.771. So that is a new fastest lap of the race set by Dirk Muller in car number 66.
Wonder how long we can keep this up. Cars are getting lighter clearly as they come to the end of their fuel run.
And more rubbish has been laid down, exactly what we were talking about before the start of the race.
Been lovely to see these cars in isolation without the prototypes. There may well be those of you, sure there are, who are saying, yeah, of prototypes going by keeps these cars together more. But what we're seeing here, particularly for India as well, in terms of data collection, they're seeing here is these cars running uninterrupted for an hour and a half now, a bit more than that. And the data that they will be gaining from this will be very important indeed going forward in both GTLM and in the GT Daytona category. John Potter is out of the Magnus Racing 44 car. That's got Andy Lally in it at the moment in 4th position. Shit.
Yeah, John, we can talk about whatever you'd like. The weather's beautiful. I was going to ask you about the hazard lights being on your car right now. Is that because Andy Lally wants to let everyone know how much trouble he is to them on track?
Well, he's just trying to confuse people. Now you don't know if he's going left or right. So maybe he throws off the BMW that's behind him and the Viper behind him. Now it's something that a button just got pushed and doesn't seem to be hurting anything.
Better than the eject button that we saw on the BMW the other day, though. You guys still have your roof on. How hot was it in the car, though? Did you wish you had a convertible?
You know, it is fairly warm in the car. You know, fortunately, you know, Andy and I both, especially Andy, obviously, have a lot of experience in the heat. And really, that's what it's going to come down to now. But obviously, a lot of our competitors do, too. But it really will be a race to see who can handle the heat on themselves and, of course, on the tires.
22 seconds behind a podium position. You guys can make that up?
Well, we'll see, I guess. We're optimistic, and we're trying.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, if anybody might try a little bit of tricky strategy, expect it to be the Magnus guys. I've been one in the past to try pulling a stroke or two. Still over an hour to go here, Jeremy. We've not got anywhere near the Singer coming out, not even warming up yet. Tony Vilander now puts in a quick lap in. This is going to be beautiful, pure motor racing. I really, really like this. Yeah. And what we're going to see now is these drivers making a difference in the last 2 or 3 laps of their pit stop, the in lap, and then the pit crew's going to work, and then how quickly the driver that stays in or the driver that takes over, depending on tactics of the individual teams, just how quickly they could get back up to speed on either Continental or the Michelin tyres, depending on the class, on their outlap. It is the classic battle between it's team versus team, car versus car, and driver versus driver. Nothing interfering at the moment.
No, it's fun, isn't it? And another quick lap there from the race leader, 43.1. So in clear there, that's looking good. Just interesting comments there from John Potter. Andy Lally is indeed charging along here. The last 3 laps, the gap from number 6 car, which is the one ahead of number 44 car of Andy Lally, has gone from 23 seconds to 22 seconds to 20 seconds. So Andy Lally certainly is playing. He's been through with that car all weekend. Every time he's got in it, he's been right up towards the sharp end of the charts. He's looking to prove that point this afternoon.
Add to that as well, Jerome Bleekemolen, who is just behind Marcus Baltala in 6th position. Bleekemolen and Baltala turning 45s as well. Most everyone else in GTD, other than Andy Lally, are turning 46 or slower.
Well, there's that
apart from Madison Snow out in front, who I've kind of forgotten about now because he's playing with the GT.
Yeah, there's that little train there, though, behind Andy Lally is Marcus Paltolo, Jerome Bleekemolen and Spencer Papelli too. They're all pretty much marking time with each other.
Making time on the cars.
Indeed.
This is why the pit stops are going to be so important, Jeremy. One fumbled wheel nut or not getting the fuel hose on, the tension is ramping up now. But because we've had green flag running, because the cars are very similar, exactly the same, expect to see a raft of green flag stops at roughly the same time, but everybody now will be going as far as they can on this tank of fuel, because the last thing that you want to do is have a pit stop and then get caught the wrong side of a safety car. Here they come then. This is the start of it. Tommy Milner in the number 4 Chevy Corvette from 6th position into pit lane. It rumbles past us now, and Shea Adam will give us this Continental Tire pit lane report.
Tommy Milner brings the 4 Corvette perfectly to his stop. Last stop for the 4 car. He turned off the car when he got out of it. Ollie Gavin getting it spot on the hour. 1 hour to go. These guys know exactly how much fuel they need to put in the car, and every last drop counts. A bit of smoke coming off the rear brakes. This car has worked very, very hard. 4 Michelin tire changes done. The car fires back up. Ollie's ready to go. And there he goes.
And they were waiting for the fuel there, Shea. Ollie Gavin.
They were. The tire change was done well before the fuel.
Yeah. Sticks on the air hose to the helmet. That's something that they've had for quite some time. Cool head, literally as well as metaphorically. And the number 4 is back in the game. The first of the major contenders then to make its final pit stop, but having trouble getting up the pace on those new and relatively cold Michelin tyres. I know it's warm out there, but tyre blankets aren't allowed. They put them in what's called warming ovens, but they don't get them to full operating temperature. And Ollie's had to give best to a couple of GTD cars. And what he doesn't want to do is let Patrick Pilet go through, who's right behind him, and he's in fact nearly dropped the lap as Antonio Garcia is only a couple of cars further back down the road. So this very important indeed for Ollie Gavin to stay ahead of the cars behind him. Now Patrick Pilet is desperate to stay on the lead lap of the race here, although of course he's got his final pit stop to make as well. Pilet of course out of kilter with everyone else because he made that extra stop to clear the grille.
Here's our overall leaders now putting another lap, a second lap on this train of cars that's battling over 4th place in GTD. And Lally, Marcus Paltola, Jerome Blakemolen and Spencer Pampelli.
In respectively the Audi, BMW, Dodge and Lamborghinis, number 44, 97, 33 and 16. Live from trackside, IMSA Radio, 89.9 FM here at the track. Sirius 145, XM203 and around the world on IMSA.com. RSL Extra. Don't forget that IMSA app. It's kind of frequency 454 as well. As we move into the final throw of the dice now. The last tactic in terms of what the teams can do is the pit stop. Then it's down to the driver that you bolt in for the last hour or so. In terms of the number 4, that's Ollie Gavin. One of the all-time ultimate plug and play performance enhancements. As in comes the leader from GTD, Madison Snow in the 48 Audi is in the pit lane. That's Jim Roller's end of things.
This time, no head fake from Brian Sellers. He is getting in the car, not just doing a water bottle. He comes flying around the car, throws his seat in. Madison Snow is helping him belt in while the tires are being done. IMSA officials at both ends of this car. This is the leading car. They don't want to make a mistake now. A new cool box goes in. The tear-off comes off the windscreen so that Brian can see one last clean of the radiator. The cool box is being hooked up as a final bit of fuel goes in. They're going to try and get every drop of fuel in this car because this will be the last stop. Waiting. This is excruciating for Brian Sellers. The car's down off. There it goes. Brian lights up those Continentals. This could be the best opportunity this team has had all season.
Very important moment out on the circuit a couple of seconds ago as the leader, Antonio Garcia, puts Patrick Pilet a lap down. Both cars still to make a final stop, of course. Pilet off kilter, remember, as the number 3. Oh, the leader hits the back of the 97 car going into the first corner. Marcus Paltala did very well to hold on to that as he got more than a little love tap from Antonio Garcia, and he gets sideswiped by Pilet. Pilet has got the 66 of Dirk Muller right behind him as well as he's picking his way through traffic. So Pilet a lap down to the leader, and the 63's got a left rear puncture, the championship leader in GT Daytona. This is massive for the championship, just coming into pit lane, the 63 car. Alessandro Balzan has dropped down to 10th position. Not a great day for the championship leaders, but he will get the car into the pit lane. This is huge story in the meantime as this car crawls down the pit lane. Let's have a quick word with Madison Snow, who led GTD from the drop of the green flag.
Absolutely outstanding stint for the young man. Madison, was the car as good as it looked?
Oh, the car was amazing out there. Everything was perfect on the car. We spent a lot of time back there with a couple other guys. We got the car set up so perfect. It was easy to drive out there.
So, anything that you needed to tell Brian about the car, or is it just the way you started?
I haven't told him anything, but it's a little bit slippery out there. But he drove morning warm up and he said the same thing. So he knows what's going on.
All right, well, there's trouble for that 63 car. Let's head to Shane.
And a slew of other pit stops. Best news for the Scuderia Course team is that they were already expecting Balzan to bring in the Ferrari this lap around. Almost no damage to the left rear of the car. A little bit of the diffuser is loose, but not enough to really bother him. Balzan already has gone back out as the number 9 has also come in for its pit stop. No driver change there, but 4 new Continental tires. And right now we have the other Audi that is in contention for this race win. Andy Lally in the number 44 Audi has brought it to a halt. They are doing 4 new Continental tires for Andy Lally as well. He is the crazy man, remember, who went over 100 miles an hour on a luge down Madison Avenue. Now he gets to do it with the roof over his head. Tear off is complete. Fueling is still going on for the Audi, though. They are waiting. The 30 Viper is also in, and they have completed a 4-tire change, leaving Jerome Bleakmullen behind the wheel. Now Lally goes back out. Jim.
97 BMW has come in and made his final stop. Another pit stop now for the 23 Porsche. Tires and fuel only on this stop. This was a team that got off kilter early. This has got to be their final stop unless there's some sort of problem.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, their tactics on today dropped them out of contention down to 9th position for the Alex Jones Racing number 23, which is on its way again, heading out of the pit lane. Now, what can Extra Perez do from there? Alessandro Balzan as well, he's out, as well as in from the lead of GT Daytona comes Robin Liddell. Jim.
Well, this will be fuel and tires only for Robin Liddell. They're going to update the drinks bottle. Now he's got to beat 43 seconds. That was the time that the Lamborghini did to take a full tank of fuel as the leaders go by us. So we'll keep a watch on this as the tires are done. Waiting for the fuel to get finished. Let's go to Shane and find out what the leaders are doing.
Number 3 rumbles past and comes to a stop. They've already got the Michelin tires off on the left-hand side of the Corvette. Fueling going in. This is what took longer than anything else on the sister car, the number 4. As the 66 is also in the Ford in direct competition with the Chevy. Not only out on track, but they have a very quick fuel time, so they should be able to beat the Corvette back out. Both cars are down. Both cars are fueling. Ford with the longer fuel stop. The Chevy gets back out. Ford wins. Ford does not win that round. That round goes to the number 3 Chevy Corvette.
Disaster for Robin Liddell. He tried to leave the pit early before the fueling was done. If the fueling had been done, he would have beaten that 43-second time, but instead it took him a couple extra seconds as he lurched ahead a couple of feet. They were able to get the hose out and then send him on his way. So rough ending to the pit stop. Clean pit stop now for the 25 car. Bill Oberlin is out. Dirk Werner is back in. Tires and fuel, and the 25 is away.
So Tony Vilander, Earl Bamber and Ryan Briscoe still to be at their final stops in the 62 Ferrari, the 912 Porsche and the 67 Porsche. They are up the road from everyone else, and everyone else through the field has made their final pit stop. 911 and Patrick Pilet taking yards out of Ollie Gavin into the first corner, but can't make that one stick as in comes Tony Vilander.
This will be this car's final stop. Comes by on the pit speed limiter comes to a stop. The number 1 lit up on the side of the car because he comes in out of the lead. He'll turn the car back over to Giancarlo Fisichella. So Fisichella is being strapped in while the tires are being changed. It'll be fuel, tires, and driver change. Brand new Michelin's going on for the 62 Ferrari, and then he'll be back underway. Tires are done, fueling is done, tear off the windshield is done. Clean as clockwork for these boys.
And a turbocharged Ferrari engine heads back into the race, Jim.
Yeah, and also on the back of that car, get well, Fiona. I want to pass along my thoughts to Fiona Miller. We miss you, baby, and want to get another one of those sugar cookie hugs.
Yeah. Drive-through for the 23 for wheel spinning while still on the jacks. So that is the Alex Job Racing car with Alex Ribras at the wheel. Right, let's take a little breath with still the 912 and the 67 to make their final stops. 50 minutes still to go. And before we give you the update, to remind you that at the end of the race, the checkered flag ends the competition but not the conversation. Your questions, points arising, or observations, please, from this very busy IMSA racing weekend to @IMSA Radio, hashtag Michelin PRT, all one word, Michelin PRT for post-race tech. And we're also looking for your nominations for the Spirit of the Race Award, the I Respect Spirit of the Race Award, to hashtag VIR SOTR, Spirit of the Race, of course. And again, that goes to IMSA Radio, @IMSA Radio on Twitter. Spirit of the Racers for that person or set of people who you think most accurately represents the spirit of the race or has done as much as possible to contribute to the spirit of the race. Michelin post-race tech or any other business really at the end of this. 912 in the pit lane. Earl Lambert sitting, waiting to be released. Lights up the Michelin rubber that will take him to the end of the race.
John. Just fuel and tires, little radiator cleanup.
Thank you. Shea Adam.
Tommy Milner, you were in the Ford Corvette for quite a long time there. Was that planned off the start to leave you in for such a long time?
Yeah, it was an option. We talked about either, me going long or Oliver would have to go long. And with our little off-track excursion, that forced our hand a little bit there for me to go long in the first stint. So not ideal for sure.
Tires not up to temp on the start. Is that what happened?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the outside of one was pretty slick. So lost a couple spots there, and then I had to sort of give room to the BMW. It was on the inside of me a couple laps later, and lost another couple spots. So, nothing else like I could have done there really. I felt like I tried to give them room so I didn't get hit, but just got far enough out there where there's a little bit dirt and stuff like that. So that wasn't good, and then it got worse from there.
Now the name of the game is stay in front of the 67, though. Good luck, Tommy.
Yeah, thanks.
The 67 has just hit pit road. That is Ryan Briscoe coming in for the last stop for the Ford GT. Robin Liddell will be called back for a drive-through for leaving in the Stevenson Audi with the fuel probe still attached. Spotted by the race officials as well as by our Continental Time pit lane reporter, Jim Roller. It's going to be, well, are they brand new Michelins? Yes, they are. Going on to the rear of the Ford GT. Shea Adam is watching. It'll be the fuel that will be the deciding factor here, Shea, I would have thought.
And the fuel is taking longer than the tires, and they almost got the fuel pumps in as well. They fired the engine back up and revved it within about an inch of its life while both fuel probes were still attached, but they waited. They waited very patiently and left the pit lane full of fuel and with new Michelins.
So everyone now is fueled to the end, should not be making any pit stops, provided that there are no problems. There are 46 minutes to go. Jeremy Shaw.
I think the only car that owns the pit stop probably now is number 16 car. That's currently leading the GTD with Spencer McPelly at the wheel of that change race in Lamborghini, but he is due a pit stop.
Second in GTD at the moment, and going very slowly indeed. now. Have they pushed the envelope a little too hard? It's at the top of the hill.
They were leading, trust me.
Brian Sellers is 5 seconds ahead of them as he's come through this time around. In that sector, yeah. So have they run it a little bit too close? We had fuel consumption as one of the keys to the race, our IHG Rewards Club keys to the race, and it may be that Pumpelly has pushed it half a lap too far. Meantime, the 912 goes up inside the 67. Ryan Briscoe trying to get his tyres up to temp on the way out of the pit, and that is the Porsche going up to 4th position as Garcia leads Muller by half a second, and off has got Brian Sellers. Brian Sellers, who's just taken the lead of GTD. He's gone off at turn number 5. Gets back on the track. It's a long way back to the number 9 Stevenson Audi in second, 25 seconds, but he's lost a lot of that. As Andy Lally, well, you were spot on about running out of fuel, if that's all it is, because Lally has been able to roll, use all his street luge experience to get home. Spencer Pumpelly, who was pulling the street luge yesterday, has been able to roll, but he's dropped all the way down to at least 7th position. Robert Liddell's just driven through the pits for his drive-through, but leaving with the fuel probe attached. And with 45 minutes to go, the battle is on at the head of the field. It may have been something slightly more sinister, Jim Roller, than running out of fuel for the 16 car.
Yes, they've taken the rear deck off. It looks like they're putting a little oil or something in. They've got a little hand pump they're using to put in some sort of liquid. They've dropped the bottle on the ground and it's rolled away. Yeah, it was some sort of lubricant. So it may have very well been fuel. I'll check in with the team and get back to you.
Could have been trying to green primer. Very dry fuel pump, I suppose. The car's rolling again and comes out of the pit lane now. Spencer Pumpelly has stayed at the wheel, but he's going to drop to the rear of the GT Daytona field. Costly mistake for Stevenson, as well as Robert Liddell has dropped out of contention. GTD has Brian Sellers now, his lead cut to 13 seconds from 25 before the car was off the circuit. Second place for Stevenson Audi, number 9. Third place, Andy Lally in the 44 Magnus Racing Audi. He'll be across the line in a moment or two's time. In fact, there he goes in front of us. And he is 30 seconds further back from second, and only 5 seconds ahead of Jerome Bleekemolen in the 33 GT Daytona Dodge Viper. At the head of the field, overall, and for GT Le Mans, 0.8 of a second between Garcia and Dirk Muller, and then 22 further seconds back, the 62 Ferrari of Fisichella, who has 9 seconds on Bamba in the 912. Ryan Briscoe a further 2.5 seconds back in 5th position for 4th, and Ollie Gavin makes up the top 6. He's 14 further seconds behind. Jim Roller, the number 16, was it sinister or was it just miscounting on the fuel pump?
I think it was miscounting on the fuel pump because the heated discussion that was going on between a couple of the guys on the pit box and the engineering staff. They said, well, we left him out 1 lap too many. What do you mean? Well, he ran out over there, and all kinds of disgusted looks. So, yeah, I think it was just a miscalculation, and he did run it dry.
Well, our IHG Rewards Club keys to the race: stay on the track. Consequences without perhaps catastrophe. We've seen so many people getting off the circuit, and most recently action at the top end of the circuit between the 67 and the 912. A little bump and run from Earl Bamber on the 67 as he came to put a lap on him. No, that was for position, excuse me, that was for 4th position at the Oak Tree turn. People who've gone off the track have paid the penalty with an extra pit stop or reduced speed at least. Tight margins, very tight margins, particularly on fuel, as we've seen there from the Spencer Pompelli, number 16, Lamborghini. No chance to really make any brave strategy calls here because the races run full green. The prototypes have not been missed here. The GT Le Mans cars have been setting a cracking pace, and we've had unencumbered racing. Brian Sellers earlier on was leading until he went off at turn 6, trying to go around the number 80 Dodge Viper, the Lone Star car, and getting out onto the dirt. Not the first person who's been caught out, Jeremy, by the lack of grip offline.
No, yeah, I mean, we've seen it. It's been a constant throughout the race, hasn't it? Of course, Brian hasn't done that many laps because he only took over the car less than 10 laps ago. So he's still getting used to the grip levels out of the racetrack, I would think. And it's not easy out there. It really is difficult. You stray offline just a little bit, and there is no grip whatsoever for these guys. Brian Sellers just found out. The good news is he had a 25-second lead, so it's not really that much of a problem for him.
You would have thought as well
at this stage.
Well, yes, he's halved his lead, but it's not a disaster. There's a consequence without the catastrophe, as Jim would say. But looking at as what he tried to do there, you would have thought it was on to be able to drive around that Viper. It wasn't as if he was in a high-energy, high-speed corner. He was just literally driving around the Lone Star Viper and had no front grip at all. Action areas all around the circuit this weekend. Not always because of passing zones. Turn 10 has had its fair share of incident. The exit of the Oak Tree turn with people getting too excitable on the accelerator, on the throttle pedal. The usual amount of people missing their braking point going into the roller coaster at turn 14 and 15. Let's hope that 66 Dirk Muller doesn't do that. He does not, as he's just gone by the second placed GT Daytona. That's the Audi of Stevenson Motorsport, the number 9 car, the blue livery. Very nice of Stevenson to do the cars in one in blue. Blue is 9, red is 6. John Edwards having jumped back in the number 100 car. That BMW M6 is back out on the circuit. The 25 is the better placed of the two, barely in 8th position. And a puncture for one of the Turner BMWs.
The number 97 car, number 96 went behind the wall again.
The wall, yes, you're right. Left rear, I think, Jeremy.
It was running well. It was in 5th place in the class too, so that's a shame for Turner Motorsport.
Yeah, it is the 97 with Marcus Paltaler on board. He's going to have to limp that back a couple of miles around from the wrong end of the circuit as far as the pits are concerned. Hopefully he won't drop any debris on the track and we can stay green. Oh, the carcass is just about hanging on to the outside of the left rear rim. It's a fine piece of driving by Paltala. Don't forget your I Respect Spirit of the Race Awards, hashtag VIR SOTR to IMSA Radio. And if you've got any questions, observations, points arising, our post-race tech weekend roundup show follows the checkered flag on RSL Extra and IMSA Radio. And the hashtag for that again to @IMSA Radio, please, is Michelin PRT. So Michelin PRT, all one word. Antonio Garcia goes through. Is this going to be win 102 for Corvette? After a lean period in the middle of the season, they got their 99th win at Daytona. Paltala, by the way, has made it back to pit lane. Their 99th win as Corvette Racing at Daytona had to wait till Lime Rock Park, at Sebring, excuse me. They had to wait till Lime Rock Park to get their century. And win at Road America last time out. Odds on at the moment with 37 minutes to go, 36 minutes to go. Garcia with 1.6 seconds. In all honesty, neither Jan Magnussen or Antonio Garcia has really had to defend and fight off a challenge since the green flag flew some 1 hour, check that, 2 hours and 5 minutes ago. Ryan Briscoe and Earl Bamber still continue to trade tenths of seconds in 4th and 5th in the 912 Porsche in the 67 Ford in GT Daytona. Closest battle is Alex Keane and Alex Riberas in 6th and 7th position.
Towards turn 1 now. That battle's been going on for a while. Alex Keane really has done a fine job this afternoon in the top 6 at the moment. But it's a position that Alex Riberas wants. And recently, you saw number 80 car a little while ago, so it was keeping pace with the race leader in GTD, who is now ahead of him. I guess that's probably as a result perhaps of Brian Sellers is off there, but still, Mike Skeen's been running a really, really good pace throughout this race.
Next round brings the 4 categories back together again at the final 2 events of the IMSA series this year. IMSA Top Series brings all 4 classes together at, first of all, the Circuit of the Americas in Austin in 4 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, excuse me.
Who's on a charge in GTD, John, is Jerome Bleckemol, and he's making pretty substantial inroads towards number 44 car of Andy Lally. Andy Lally has 3rd place now. He's a long, long way behind Lawson Aschenbach, who is 2nd for Stevenson Motorsport in the car number 9. But Jerome Bleckemol now is just about 5 seconds behind Andy Lally, and he's been gradually whittling that down.
Well, no intervention thus far, and unlikely to happen from the weather. It has been a picture-perfect weekend, bank holiday weekend over in the United Kingdom, and I know many of you, the time at almost 8:45 in the evening, will be coming back after various Sunday pursuits. Tuning into the last half an hour here, you've missed a cracking race. Just the GT cars for this round of the IMSA Championship. 3 Corvette so far has not been headed, other than in the pit stop cycles. It has not been headed, as I mentioned a moment or 2 ago. It's really not been challenged since the opening laps. I hesitate to say comfortable, but it hasn't exactly been daggers drawn for the 3 car that Antonio Garcia took over from Jan Magnussen. He's just put a lap on the leader in GT Daytona. There's a story too. In the offing, Brian Sellers has squeaked his lead back out to 13.5 seconds in the 48 GT Daytona. Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini. It's an Audi that's chasing him down. The Stevenson number 9, 13.5 seconds.
It's actually come down a little bit since well, it's pretty much stabilised since the off, I think, for Brian. I think he's just, he knows the pace he needs to run. I'm sure he's comfortable doing that at this stage.
No need to try and do anything more, Jeremy, and we've seen that risk versus reward factor just often stack up. You don't have to be very far off here to have the scenery grab a wheel and send you off on a tangent. Fastest laps coming up. Ollie Gavin and Patrick Peely are having a bit of a scrap for 6th and 7th in the 4 Corvette and the 911 Porsche. They've just done their best laps in the car. As the 2nd place Ford is now 2.6 seconds behind Antonio Garcia in the hands of Dirk Muller, and heads towards turn number 3 through the kink at 2. Big lift off, down 1 gear and down another. gone past Ryan Sellers as well. This is a great run of form from Corvette, as I'm just hearing from Jim Roller of a problem recently for the 67 car. Jim, it's not coming to the pit lane. What's its issue?
All four wheels off on driver's left at the exit of hot pit. He may be coming in for a little hay cleaning.
Yeah, I thought he came past here at reduced pace.
67, that is, in 5th position. And he's only got 9 seconds over Ollie Gavin. So we'll have a look next time we'll see the 67, see how bad the hair baling has been at the front of that car. I make it though that we've still got all bar.
The number 96 car still running, is that what you're going to say?
Yes, and all bar the number 100 BMW on the lead lap.
Correct.
So top 8 GTLM and 9th on down, 1 lap or worse.
Yeah, in fact, just the last couple of laps, the overall leader just put the second lap on the GTD leader.
Ollie Gavin getting very close indeed. Big lock up close to Andy Lally, trying to put a lap on him. The interesting thing though is that the GT Daytona field are all still on the same lap themselves. So Sellers leads it in the 48 car. Brian's doing a pretty decent job there. He's gradually, in the moment, being reeled in by the 9 Audi. Bleekemolen is pressurising the both of them. And I think that's why the pace has picked up on the number 9 Stevenson Audi, if I'm honest, Jeremy, because Bleekemolen is quite a way back. When you know Bleekemolen is chasing you down, you just tend to focus the mind a little bit. Perhaps Stevenson think they can put some pressure on Brian Sellers.
We've got Andy Lally has lost some time on that lap and now being passed by Jerome Bleekemolen. So the Viper up into 3rd place.
Correct. By 2.3 seconds.
Yeah, Brian lost a lot of time on that last lap. He must have had an off-course excursion somewhere. I guess in the first sector, actually.
Andy Lally, yes, Andy, did not. Ah, well, he got caught up with Ollie Gavin, didn't he? I think that would have cost him that much time.
Maybe we didn't see him going off as a result of that, perhaps.
Corvette creeping down the inside of the Lone Star Dodge in the braking area for the first corner. Is our leader. Garcia. Every car now is a potential banana skin issue. Someone who can pull over on you, put you on the grass, do some damage and steal the win away from you, and that's exactly how Antonio Garcia has got to think. He's got to be decisive. He's got to let people know which side he's going to pass them on. Dirk Muller's up, still only a second and a half behind, and any fumble, he'll be there. Problems again for the 27 car that's going slow. Stevie Persiani at the wheel of that car now down in 10th position in class and heading for the pit lane for its 5th time today. That is the car that has made the most pit stops thus far. Half an hour to go, Jeremy, just under. Patrick Peely and Ollie Gavin still just 6th position. As 67 is off Ryan Briscoe, and he may well have lost a position there to Ollie Gavin. Let's see if we can see the bright yellow Corvette not behind him. He was only 3 seconds back. No, he's gone through, and so has Peely as well, I think. Yeah. So Briscoe drops down from 5th to 7th position in this grass in the scoop of the 33 Jerome Bleekemolen Viper as well. Sort of underlines what Jeremy was saying earlier on. Well, still drama to be played out here. 26 to go at VIR. IMSA Radio live from trackside on the the IMSA app, IMSA.com, and the RSL Broadcast Network. Also on Sirius 145 XM203, our channels for the rest of the season for the WeatherTech races. It's Quarter and Road Atlanta, between them all. At IMSA Radio. Don't forget, we are looking for your nominations for the Spirit of the Race. That was a very big offer by the 33 Viper, Jerome Bleekemolen, taking the shortcut out of 6. Shea Adam, your nomination for Spirit of the Race as the 33 car comes into the pits.
Ooh, that's hard. Can I have a minute to think about that?
Of course you can. 33 has gone past Jim Roller.
So 44 cut back into third place.
This isn't good. A lot of fluid coming out of the right bank of the engine, and now they're blowing way overheating because of the grass. It was blowing. It smells like a bonfire down here, actually. It was blowing a lot of fluid out of the side of that car from the overheating.
And Shea Adam.
It actually left a trail of fluid down the median line as it left the pit lane, and I can see it going all the way out on track. Not sure what that was, but it might make things a bit slippery going into turn 1.
It's more of that radiator blowback.
Okay. Well, let's hope that doesn't get any worse for them.
He'll have cooked that engine if it is as bad as it looks and smells.
Shea Adam, come back to you for your hashtag VIR SOTR to IMSA at IMSA Radio.
I'm going to go with the whole Reese Competizione team because they had so many little things, little niggles that stopped them through practice, and they worked until midnight one night to try and get the car fully repaired. Podium position would be the perfect way to repay their crew for their hard work.
Jim Roller.
I'm going to go with the 48 guys. Paul Miller Racing has been plugging away all season long. They were showing more and more speed. They had a horrible outing at Watkins Glen, but they've continued to improve. And Madison Snow has really come a long way this season. I'm gonna go in that direction.
Jeremy Shaw, who's caught your eye for Spirit of the Race. Tough one this weekend.
It's a tough one this weekend, isn't it? Yeah, I think I agree with all of those suggestions.
I'm going to throw
Magnus Racing is a nice job.
I'm going to throw the 25 BMW
Number 80 car too. Number 80 car.
Yes.
Lone Star Racing. It's great to see somebody new doing a really good job. And I hold off that Alex J Racing Porsche. Yeah, the Porsche might not be the fastest car here this weekend, but I think Mike Skeen in particular has done just a fantastic job for that. Let's say without being derogatory, a part-time team.
Yeah. Like the thinking. You can vote for them, you can suggest someone else. Hashtag VIR SOTR at IMSA Radio. And we'll tell you who's won our I Respect Spirit of the Race Award in Michelin Post-Race Tech, which comes in straight after our race broadcast. IMSA.com, RSL Extra, and our audio syndications over on RadioLeMond.com. 2 minutes to go. This is nail-biting time now.
That was the Viper again, wasn't it?
The 33 Viper, yes, it was. Jerome Bleekemolen. Blew out more stuff from the radiators and put some fluid in the engine.
The Porsche team has done a good job, haven't they? I mean, those cars have been competitive. They worked really hard to get those cars back into the contention.
Spirit of the race goes to VIR, actually, because once again they've flown the flag for what can be done and for the atmosphere that can be created at a racing circuit from Connie Nyholm all the way down to the first person to make the gate. Clearing out the race grids. Everybody asking about the racing, interested in what's going on. Courteous, fantastic, efficient. Last call here. As you might expect, with a brand new circuit laid down just a couple of weeks ago. I expect there to be issues. They've been thought out, avoided. Technical requests that we've had addressed. Congratulations to Kerrigan Smith, Kerry, Connie Nyhall, for putting on another great event with their partners here, Nissan and Michelin, and of course with the IMSA staff. They've turned the all GT format of this race for the GT Challenge at VIR into a real festival atmosphere. To fantastic event. Jim Roller. The fans, as ever, have got jumps for you with the cool vests.
Yeah, I've had all kinds of ideas. Somebody actually tweeted where I could get one, so thank you very much. I'm definitely going to look into that for the future. And no, I won't be separating the hay bales by manufacturer. I've got it all mixed up now.
Mixed hay from cars for sale.
Cheap.
I can see him riding out the little side down and not into the side of the road before he leaves. Plenty of room in the back of the Jeep Grand Cherokee though, Jim, to get it in there, that's fine.
Yes, there is, and I'm going to see if I can get a couple of the bales signed.
Very, very good. Very good. 19 minutes to go then. Fastest lap of the race has gone to Ollie Gavin in 5th position. He tries to bridge the gap. He's on another good one as well here. Bridge the gap between himself and the top 4.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go. He's about 18 seconds behind the 912 Porsche. It's for 4th and 5th positions.
Finally, Mike Skeen, I think he's going to give up the position to the 23 Ribera starts. Well, this is the daggers drawn battle for 5th position in GT Daytona between Mike Skeen and Alex Riberas, which has been raging for probably 20 minutes. And there's never been more than 3/4 of a second between them. Ollie Gavin does indeed do another quick lap. 42.6 this time.
Yes, and at the same time, his teammate is stretching away a little bit out front. He's got the gap between the number 3 and number 66 going out to over 4 seconds. Hasn't been that big for an awful long time.
Robin Liddell stretches his legs and that of the Stevenson Abbey's.
Last time it was that big.
Robin trying to catch up with Andy Lally, but he's got 15 seconds. But you're not going to make up positions by just cruising around. You've got to put pressure on the guys ahead. Lally's just done his personal and the car's personal best in 3rd position. It's 32 seconds behind 2nd. 17 seconds behind Brian Sellers, who still leads GT Daytona. Just a little stagnant portion of the race here. I get the feeling that any second now it could all explode. Bit of a lock up there from the 23. Riberas trying to use the 62 Ferrari of John Collins and Keller, which was lapping. He in the car he's chasing Mike Skeen in the Lone Star Dodge, the IndyCar. He's got the overlap, and there's a touch! Inevitably, the touch came, turn number 4, the left hook. And the front bodywork on the Porsche is slightly deranged, but it's dropped back into position. I think Mike was very happy about that. Side-to-side contact going through the left-hander and the left hook at turn 4. Immediately, Alessandro Balzan, who was catching those two, is going to take the opportunity to try and have a look around the outside. Into the oak tree, he'll do the over and under. He won't get that one done. Skeen went wide. They're side by side.
forceful move, wasn't it, at best?
It was, yeah. The fact that he's hit the front wing of Skeen's car, I think will probably get him away with it. He wasn't on the curb. Skeen's
because he lunged down the inside.
Well, it was a low percentage lunge. It was absolutely. As they're in the braking area, actually, as they're in the braking area, the brakes go on. He's not there. He's barely alongside the rear three-quarter panel of Mike Skeen's car. So Mike may well have recourse to be a bit disappointed there. But Mike not being there, I'm not sure that Rieberas would have hit the corner. It's a hard fight by Rieberas and Mike Skeen.
Yeah, you mentioned number 63 car there, just now close onto the tail of that little group. They made up ground, and other cars have had some difficulties. Number 16 car, of course, they're out of field. Spencer Capelli certainly turning some very, very good laps.
Here's something I didn't expect to see. Number 911 Porsche back in, Patrick Pilet. Is that for more clearing of the radiator ducts, Jim Roller?
No, it's just fuel. There's absolutely nothing in the radiator duct. The crew gave it a look-see. But there is absolutely nothing there. That was just for fuel. Strange.
No tyres there. That's it. They were a little bit off strategy with everyone else, but there's 15 minutes to go here, fellas. Did that 911 stop last time? Look back for me.
Yeah, it was about. It definitely needed a pit stop.
Right. Okay. So he had stopped first of the GTLM cars then. 14 minutes to go. Hasn't played out for Patrick Pilet and Nick Tandy, who had the pace earlier on. 27 comes through the pit lane serving a penalty.
Yeah, it's lost quite a lot of time. That car's been in the pits for quite a while.
Actually, they've just come out from behind the wall. That's the... they've come out in the far end of the pit lane and driven through. Is there one more roll of the dice for Ford and for Dirk Muller in the 66 Chip Ganassi Ford GT? 4 seconds the gap. As in comes Mike Skeen's had to come in, and there's a mechanic waving his arms at the back of the Lone Star, the Blue Viper. That's a shame, Jim. That had been a pretty clean battle up until the point that it wasn't. 5th position in GTD, Skeen had been holding down.
Yeah, they only brought one tire out for the left rear, but they're checking. I think they're wondering if there's some suspension damage because they are now taking the right rear off and messing around with the front.
Yeah, it was
there and see what they can see.
his left-hand side that got the clout from Alex Rieberas in the 23 car.
Big old mark on the left rear fender where Rieberas clouded him. Yeah, this isn't the work at the moment as they so yeah, this is going to be a while.
Thanks, Jim. Time pit lane reports. We'll let Shea Adam working hot shift this afternoon.
12 minutes to go then. It's 2 hours before the race.
This turns into a victory for Antonio Garcia and Jan Magnussen. It's a well-deserved one. It's been a long time since they've been on the top step of the podium. Sebring 2050. Flirting with the outside of turn 10. Don't know why they continue to do that. Real need. Garcia put himself in that position. He's clearly got himself in the group. 43-1 again last time around. Dirk Muller 43-2 to Ford at the moment. Has no response to the pace of the Corvette. Ryan Sellers just holding on to his 11-second lead, back about 13 since he went off the track. Alex dragged himself back together, is running mid to late 146s with regularity. Last time around, the Stevenson Annie ran a 45.7, which was a full second quicker than him. And the Lally, 46.1, 46.4 for Robin Mazzelli's team. Robin Mazzell, the 9 cars team, well, it's in second position. 11 seconds for Brian Sellers. I don't think we have to worry too much about that one at the moment when it all of a sudden jumps down to 5 or 6. Number 3, Garcia. Oh, he's off! He's put all 4 wheels off there, coming through the exit of turn 5 into turn 6. That was just a bizarre moment of loss of concentration there. He did it on a very dry part of the circuit and hasn't filled the radiators up. Time leader of GTD, he's got traffic ahead of him. Traffic is the 5th placed Porsche of Alex Riberas. Ahead of Alex is the 27 Persiani driven Lamborghini. Racing car. The 63 will get a drive-through for overboost limits exceeded. That's going to cost them 6th position, Jeremy.
Yeah, they fought back well.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, they took advantage of a few other people having some difficulties, like number 16 car running out of fuel, number 33 car having the off-course excursion, the extra pit stop, and a couple of others as well. But now, that's very frustrating.
Well, and it could be very costly in terms of the championship. Very costly indeed. 8.5 minutes to go. Don't forget, get your questions into #Michelin PRT at IMSA Radio. Once we've concluded our sound and vision broadcast of the race, stay on the air on IMSA Radio. 27 cars got more trouble. The left front wheel is catching the bodywork. They'd have to come in for that. Risk losing the left front tyre. So stay tuned after the checkered flag. We'll have reaction from our Continental Tire pit lane crew, and then the moment we've signed off, we reconvene. The checkered flag may be the end of the competition, but it's only the start of the conversation. We'll be answering your questions. You set the agenda. #Michelin PRT to @IMSA Radio, and we'll also be announcing the winner based on your votes of the High Respect Spirit of the Race Award, and you can nominate now #VIR SOTR @IMSA Radio. Coming to the last 7 minutes now, everyone should be able to go through to the end, or not. Shea Adam.
The crew people for the number 4 are up on the wall. They're expecting Ollie Gavin to come in for a splash here soon.
Right. That's interesting. That sent Jeremy to his lap chart.
And he was in with exactly 1 hour to go.
Yes. I remember even saying that, or hearing Shea say that.
You said that, I wrote it down.
So 1 hour to go, and coming up short for the 4 car. That's interesting. And Ollie Gavin's off. He won't be coming to the pit lane. He's off, and we get our first full course yellow. And it will likely end the race as Ollie Gavin has destroyed the rear end of the number 4 car. I think it's down at the first corner. Waiting for confirmation on where it is at the track. I'm told, I'm sorry, completely wrong. It's further around the circuit at turn.
That's bizarre.
It's at the Oak Tree turn, isn't it? At the top of the track.
It's coming. It's coming.
Right, sorry, yeah. So 14 lost it completely, and he's backed it into the tyres. And our first full course yellow. The back of the car in heavy contact with the. Well, guess what though? They build them tough. The get well soon Fiona sticker has survived. It's much worse than it looks because it's bodywork. Slams the door, and he's got the car rolling. He will get it to the pit lane. They were expecting him for a splash of fuel. That might well have even been his in lap. It was just clipping the curb at 14 that sent him sideways. And the 4 car, after having had a very decent run recently, Ollie Gavin rubs his eyes in disbelief as he brings it in along the pit lane. The good news is that we will probably go back to green flag very quickly. The diffuser is hanging on by a thread as it comes to a stop next to Shea Adam.
And stunningly enough, there is no grass in the front of the 4 car, a problem that we've seen all weekend. They are giving the international sign for they're done. There is oil pouring out of the back. The 4 car is going to need some TLC before it goes to Circuit of the Americas.
Wow, that's huge in a championship. And the good news for them is the 67 car hasn't had a particularly good day. It's down in 5th position.
Correct, but now it's all going to close up, Jeremy. Will we get this restarted? Because if it is, we're back to what we had at Road America. They're clearing cars out of the line. And we have first, second and third line astern behind the BMW safety car. 3.5 minutes. Just over. Some beautiful flying from our helicopter pilot, by the way, and a camera operator there tracking sideways beautifully to keep the cars in shot. It has been an absolute start today. The wave buys continue. Well, I think they're clearing everybody out to give the guys at the head of the field a chance to race. Oh dear. Ollie Gavin's car. Well, the only thing that survived at the back is the get well soon Fiona sticker.
Can we get it back to the garage now and just start
Now,
control
Shea, never mind the car. How's Ollie? Is he all right?
Yeah, I just walked over to him as he was taking his helmet off and asked him, and he gave me a thumbs up. He's okay. He's just dejected at this point.
Very odd looking accident, I've got to say it. Not sure really what Ollie did wrong. Car seemed to snap away from him very quickly as though he's coming in. It's a very fast entry to the roller coaster. See, you brake, take the car through the first part of the corner. You can't see the middle part of the track of the chicane effectively because of the brow of the hill. So you brake, get the car lined up, and then brake again. And Ollie was a passenger from pretty early on in that pace. One more, we're going to get white flag this time around if we don't go green. And we are going to get first win for a long time for the 3 car. Safety car lights are out. We're going to get a dash for the cash.
Probably just be 1 lap though.
Yeah, I think so. 146, yeah. So they come across the line. We are going back to green. Fine piece of officiating. Everybody's been caught out behind the lead too as they go through. And it's Earl Bamber who is the most likely. He was on the throttle there. He was dozing just a little bit. The leaders are doing fine. As oh, a spin for Fisichella. A spin for Fisichella going into this is twice in 2 races for the racing team. Have been caught out on the restart. Now, was there a touch this time? There's damage to the back of the Ferrari, but that might have been driving off the track. I did think Bamber had got a good run. no issues for Garcia and Dirk Muller. Fisichella is out of contention. Earl Bamber now up into 4th. That takes Ryan Briscoe up from 5th to 4th as Bamber goes from 4th to 3rd. And that again has championship implications, Jeremy.
Well, it does, because it gives number 60-70 team more points.
Correct. Well. Another dash for the points at the end of an IMSA race. This is the final lap. The white flag did get shown to the leaders as they went through in GTD. Brian Sellers is fighting off the number 9. All of his 11-second lead, of course, used up in that quick safety car period. Andy Lally's in there as well. The top 3 in GT Daytona absolutely together. It's going to be another topsy-turvy finish in the track where IMSA GT Racing started its career, if you will, back in 1971. We've had another headline-changing late race caution. No change at the top of the standings, as Antonio Garcia and Jan Magnussen will stand on the top step for Corvette. It's Ford number 66 in second. Earl Bamber takes 3rd from Ryan Briscoe in the 67 in 4th position for Ford, and that is huge for the championship. Shea Adam down at Corvette.
Getting used to standing down at these guys' garage, because every single race for the last 3, it has been the ladies and gentlemen in the bow ties who get to celebrate at the end of the day. And Doug Feehan is giving a big hug to Danny Binks. Doug, you waited so long for 100. You didn't have to wait long for 101. You had to wait even less time for 102, except it's the other boys. You feeling pretty proud of the 3-car today?
Yes. Actually, you know, we've had instances at this track before. The cars like the track. We haven't really put up great results, although we did clinch a championship here. But I think today the work the engineers put forward, obviously flawless driving by both Jan and Antonio, paid off. And once again, I think we put on a great show for the fans. This balance and performance thing looks like it's working. And anybody could have won today. Every car was good enough to win. So that's what we're looking for at the end of the day. That's what moves the ball down the field. So we're pretty proud of everything we've accomplished, and we're pretty proud of what everybody else has too. You know, we want the series to be successful, and this is the kind of racing that it's at.
Do you guys know what happened to the 4-car?
I don't know. I looked at the video. It didn't look like there was any other cars around Oliver. I haven't had a chance to speak with him yet, so I don't know what happened. But whatever it was, it put an end to this day. It's unfortunate because they are in the battle, obviously, for the Drivers' Championship.
Madison Snow, you've won in Porsches. Now you've won in a Lamborghini. How does it feel?
I mean, it feels super amazing. We had a perfect race. It couldn't have gotten any better. It was very nerve-wracking at the end, but Brian pulled it off. Paul Miller car came home for first place.
Now that was quite a first stint you had. Are you proud of what you were able to accomplish today?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, the car was set up so good that it was looking good.
All right, well, congratulations. I'm going to let you go celebrate with Brian.
Well, for Jan Magnussen, the winless drought is finally over. The pole drought ended this weekend, and now you're back to the top step. Congrats, Jan.
Thanks. Fantastic drive by Antonio and the whole team. It's an awesome job. Well deserved.
Is it better when you win, when you don't have anybody challenging you the whole race and you're just dominating?
Well, it didn't feel like we were completely dominating, but we had a good car. We were able to hold the gap to the Ford, really. And I'm just happy for the guys, and I'm happy to be back in winner's circle. About time.
Yeah, and it helps you with the points championship too. I don't think there will be a mark on the 3 when we see it. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Certainly nobody got alongside it all day, Shea. The same can't be said of Giancarlo Fisichella and Earl Bamber. I think there was a bit of afters going up the hill. From the helicopter shot, it looked like Fizzy wasn't too pleased, and there was a Porsche off in the grass at one stage as Fizzy went back past it. Might be worth having a look at the left-hand side of the 62 to see if there's any Porsche paintwork on it as that car goes back around. Actually, I can see that from here. It looks clean. Might be worth having a word with Earl to see what happened there. Win for Corvette, and in the GTLM category ahead of Ford and Porsche, Earl Bamber dragging the 912 onto the podium. once again, a last lap incident for the recent Competizione car, seeing the car spun out in the first corner. Brian Sellers and Madison Snow winning in GTD from the Stevenson Audi number 9, and Andy Lally in third position for the 44 Magnus Racing car, racing team as well. Two big stories in the championship, and the championship leaders not where they should be. And in GTD, that means Alessandro Balzan and Christina Nielsen down in 8th position, Jeremy, in GT Daytona. Let's go back to Shea and an update on the first corner incident.
Giancarlo Fisichella parked his car in Parc Ferme, but then got out of it, took his helmet off, and walked out to the fast lane where all the cars are being brought into the paddock so that he could have a word with Earl Bamber. Earl did not stop. Slammed the side of the 912, so there was definitely some contact between the two of them.
Thank you, Shea. Temperatures running high again as we go to Texas. Championship positions, Jeremy.
Well, pending any inquiries into the number 912 car, at the moment, Oliver Gavin and Tommy Miller will still lead the championship. They've got 287 points. Ryan Briscoe and Richard Westbrook have 280. However, if the number 912 car is put back in anyway, that'll give 2 more points to Ryan Briscoe and Richard Westbrook. But at the moment, 7-point lead for Gavin and Milner with 2 races remaining in the season. In GTD, also problems there for the other Ferrari, also Risi. Nielsen and Balzan will still lead that championship, but now by only 8 points again over Andy Lally and John Potter. So a really great result for them, a 3rd place finish, and that battle is very much on for these final couple of races.
The podium is right behind our commentary position. The fans are being allowed into it. Let's get down to our Continental Tire pit lane reporter. Brian Sellers is with Jim Roller.
Thank you, John. What a happy man he is. He was able to give Liam and Jamie a big hug. Jamie Howe, one of the Fox reporters, who is Brian's better half, I will say, and the little cute guy, Liam. Congratulations, my friend. Well deserved.
Thank you. I got to say a couple of things. First of all, thanks to Paul Miller Racing. It was a fantastic day. Lamborghini had a great car here. But I got to take a minute to congratulate my teammate Madison. I mean, he put in the hard work this race, and I have to say he really carried the team on this go-around, and I'm so proud of him, so happy for him, and I'm glad we could do this together.
Well, Jamie, I'm going to ask you a question. How does it feel to see him win one finally?
I get to see it from a different side of the sport, and watching everything that Paul Miller Racing has done over the last couple of months has been pretty amazing. So it's really exciting to watch it for, not just for Brian, obviously, but for all of the guys.
Well, congratulations. Liam's getting big.
Too big. Too big, too fast.
Oh, yes. He'll be in kiddie kart soon. Get the 80cc Corma ready. I can see that being very expensive very quickly.
He's going to have to win some more races.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, an eventful GT weekend here for the Michelin GT Challenge at VIR. The weather did its best to ruin yesterday and couldn't make that happen. And today, it has been all about Corvette. The number 3 of Antonio Garcia and Jan Magnussen did not have a challenge on them at all. Yes, they were pushed. They never got a huge lead, but I seriously, Jeremy, cannot remember anybody getting alongside them to challenge for the position.
No, they were gone right from the start. Madison Snow took his time, didn't stretch his legs immediately, but once he did, he pulled away, and then Brian Sellers did the job from there. One brief scare with an off-course excursion, but nothing too dramatic. He was able to just pace himself and bring the car home to the finish. Incidentally, the number 16 car changed racing Lamborghini also. That set the fastest lap in GTD in this race, with Spencer charging his way back there into contention after unfortunately running out of fuel.
So thank you very much to our Continental Tire pit lane reporters, Shea Adam and Jim Roller. Giancarlo Fisichella not available for comment at the end, but there appears to have been no action from race control on the 912 and the 62. Now, what happens after the flag may be a different kettle of fish, and we'll keep you updated with that. We reconvene in Texas at the Circuit of the Americas. Big, wide open spaces, both the state and the racing surface. Just 2 more events to go before we crown the 2016 IMSA champions. Points to be won, championships to be decided, and it'll all be live here on IMSA Radio.
This program is a production of IMSA and Radio Show Limited. For more, visit radiolemans.com.